This is my elbow. Alright. I got some music. If that's too loud, we can dial it back. I will listen in on the music. It's pretty chill while we work tonight. Just want to make sure that everything's set up. And we're up. All right, cool. I got my phone here so I can read chat since I'm a little bit further away. And again, if my music is too loud for you guys to hear me, just let me know. We're going to start with this bad boy. So are we kind of crooked? We're kind of crooked. All right. We're going to start with the grays, and then we're going to go to the raw umber, and then we're going to go to the black. So we're going to start with the lighter colors first and work our way up the way. So gray first. So some folks go with the dark colors first and lighten it up. I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense. I think it should be the other way around. So that's how we're going to do it. So we're first going to start with acrylics. We've got some gray acrylics here. We do have some chalks that we're going to use at some point, and then potentially some other layering of weathering that we're going to do. Again, this is a ICAT tank trooper from Rogue One. You can see in the other corner down that way. What we're doing, I'm actually doing a variant of what you see on screen. It is actually a commander version, not the grunt version that you see on the screen, but I couldn't find a commander version online that wasn't just a still from the movie that I didn't feel like photoshopping, so it is what it is. Lid from OxyClean. I'm going to use that as we roll here. I'm just going to squirt a little bit on, and we're going to use a good bit of this paint. It's probably plenty. We're going to start with this bracer, and normally I would mix it and we'd get different colors, but we're going to do straight colors first and then add mixing later. So we're going to start that with the gray. I always apply with sponges. I recommend getting natural sponges or like manufactured to look like natural sponges. This one's got a lot of holes in it. I know I get like these do too, and these are manufactured. We're not going to be using this for coating. And the idea here is it's going to be completely covered. Like this is going to be completely like 95% covered with paint. And then we're going to wipe it all off with this green cloth on my lap, and we're going to go from there. So without further ado, this is the right bracer. This goes on my right arm. I've got padding down inside it now. It's probably a little bit too much, but it's velcroed in, so I can actually easily pull it out as needed. But we're going to leave it in there because we're not worried about weathering the inside. We're going to do kind of like the lip on each individual section and go from there. But we're going to start on the outside, and we're going to get into these grooves and get some details through here. So I got the grays ready. You can see we got the sponge ready. I'm not going to get anything wet yet. I got two cloths that are prepped wet for quick like wipe downs. The idea is we dry twist all this stuff back off to get the effect that we want, and first we have to apply it. So we're going to do that first, and then as we do layering, we'll probably move to other sections. I'm going to let this air dry since I'm only going to be doing a couple things tonight. I normally would grab a fan, like a small kind of a window fan or a fan that you'd have just kind of like laying around the house to like just direct blow air on these to quick dry them. Normally if you are out in the weather and it's like acrylics being water based and you went out in the rain with something like this, it would cause running, not like massive running, but it would cause some of that weathering to kind of go away. So some folks will clear coat their weathering. I don't plan on doing that, mainly because if the weathering starts to come off, then you can just kind of reapply it. And normally, as it runs in the rain, I've seen some people trooping that have some weathered stuff that are acrylics, and the rain actually adds a layer of logistic weathering because it's rain touching like the dirt on your costume or the fake dirt, which then adds to the effect. And then when you go to add more dirt material to the costume, it just even looks even more realistic. So, all right, so sponge, again, manufactured with holes. This is a sponge that I paid way too much money for at Michael's in a pack. I haven't done this in quite some time, so we're just going to layer this up. We're going to start with the crevices, so we're going to go down through, and then it's like, why are you doing this? You're covering the whole thing. Look at all that. Look at all that. That's okay. That's all good. That's the plan. And you can see I'm not wiping it on. I'm smacking it on, like kind of tapping it on. I guess maybe like this is how women apply makeup. I don't know. I have no idea. But the idea is you don't want any smearing because the smearing is going to come on when we go to twist this off. Again, we're just doing the gray right now. We're going to get the low areas of the gray. I've got rubber gloves on. That's pretty important for this. I mean, you can do this. It's not going to damage your hands. But I've got an 8-month-old, a little older than that now, that loves to eat my fingers and put everything in his mouth. So not that he's awake right now, but in the morning, it can be a pain in the ass to get some of this acrylic off your fingernails. So that's why I'm wearing gloves. So again, look at that. What am I, a mud trooper now? Like, what is that all about? So you can see I'm almost through most of that paint, and that's okay because we've got tons of gray. And if I have to buy more, I will. But my goal is to kind of see there's a lot of white in there, so I'm going to kind of twist that in, make sure it's in there nice and good in the corners. And then the idea is we're going to, again, wipe off 98, 95% of all this again. And all the low spots that it's hard to wipe off will look awesome. And we'll see that effect, and I'll show you how that effect looks just with one layer versus a clean piece. They eat everything. Oh, they do eat everything. Hey, man, what's going on, man? What is going on? We're doing some painting tonight. Cooper is getting ready for bed. Lisa's up there rocking him right now. She'll probably be down in a little bit. I had a little bit of chicken that she made earlier, like rotisserie, but it was like, it wasn't rotisserie. It was like a chicken that we put in the oven, but it reminds me of rotisserie for whatever reason. But it was good, and I only had a little bit of it, so maybe she'll be sweet and bring some more down to me. So while I'm touching up everything else and I'm smacking everything around, getting the grime in these crevices, so to speak, the rest of the parts have a chance to dry. You can see there's a white line, yeah, right through where the gap is, and it's because my sponge isn't getting down into it. So I just need to push up a little bit, and that's going to be great. For my sand trooper, when I did this, I did about 3 layers of acrylics and a little bit of Fuller's Earth, which is kind of like a makeup powder type material that they use for weathering in movies and all kinds of other things too. I know they can stick it in various things as like additives that don't really do any good for your body, I guess, but you do find Fuller's Earth type materials in like supplements and stuff like that. So once we apply, I mean, look at this. There is a mud trooper, and this kind of gray is the color that you're going for. If you go and you watch the troopers that you saw in, if you've seen the movie, in Han Solo, the Solo movie, you'll see these mud troopers and how grimy they are. So I did an excellent job. The amount of paint that I squirted out, like I eyeballed it, and I was pretty much spot on how much I needed for this piece. And again, I'm going to go back through. There are some spots where I did some wiping, and I want to go back through and tap that to make sure that the wipe effect is not there. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry a little bit, and we're going to start twisting it with this textured cloth that I've got in front of me. It's just a hand towel that you would use for washing dishes or drying off dishes. So the problem I have right now is this gap. I'm having trouble getting that dirty. And that's, I have a toothbrush for this kind of stuff, which I can get like just tons of stuff on the bristles and just shove it in to the gaps. And that works really well. Haven't seen Solo yet. Well, I mean, it's not amazing. It's not horrible. Honestly, I don't like the sequel trilogy. I honestly kind of liked Solo more than the sequel trilogy. So, if that's any reason to go see Solo, then there you go. So inside this gap on my Sand Trooper, that's where your arm would go. That's where your wrist is. I'll get that dirty too, but I'll do that later. So right now we just kind of let this air dry a little bit, and we're going to be rolling here in just a second. There are some gaps that I'm not super keen on for these sections here. And this is nice and wet still, so we gotta let this dry up. I don't want to move on to anything else because the other pieces I have are equal size or bigger. Like I'm gonna do a leg. I have both the bracers and both legs tonight. The legs, I'm thinking about getting a little bit of the raw sienna, which is kind of like an orangey color down around the ankles. Just thinking of traditional kind of mud color. Not that a tank trooper would have mud color in it, but if you watch some scenes when they're on Jeddah, the dirt tones are very kind of this sienna kind of brownish, reddish color. So it makes sense, I think, for this character to have that. Man, I wish those gaps were a little bit dirtier in the forearm piece. I remember working on weathering with just showing off some photos. I remember one of the other guys in 501st that they don't have a weather-based costume. Was like, what are you gonna do with this? Like, what it's supposed to be white, and because I was doing my Sand Trooper, and of course with the Sand Trooper I was using more earthy browns and gray, not gray at all, this color. Some more of like the deserty yellows. I think we're about ready on some of this. Yeah, that looks good. So watch as I twist this again. I'm gonna do a twisting method, and see how it's gonna cause these little circles. I'm gonna buff those circles out with another way, but see how it's leaving like just patches, and we're gonna clean up those patches even more. So I'm gonna move this paint out of the way. I got a bucket right here full of water, so if we have to like clean up a lot of the excess that's left over, thankfully it's all just and this is interesting because this is not on direct plastic, this is on paint, so we will have to hit this with water, it looks like, because it's sticking a lot. Yeah, and see how easy that comes off, the big white splotch right here. I just had a little bit of water on this cloth, this separate cloth, and it pulls that excess off pretty well. And we're gonna have to hit through some of this because this paint is holding on pretty sturdy to some of this. Again, all this is gonna get pretty much wiped off, but the crevices will add that accent layer of the gray, and then eventually we'll do some darker colors. I think the raw umber, which is kind of like a brown color, will be good, and it's not gonna be we're not gonna completely cover everything. The grays and the blacks are what the CRL says for this costume. So I'm gonna pretend I'm gonna wipe this time across these pieces, like I was, in a combat situation. I just finished some battle, and I'm gonna wipe off my armor down the front, right? So I'm gonna go in there with just trying my best to not use anything special to clean it out, but just use my finger wrapped around the cloth and going into each one of these and kind of just twisting to get the dirt, so to speak, out. I've seen a lot of variants on this costume of how dirty people get. I don't want to be too dirty. When I did my weathering for my Snow Trooper, it was just too dirty, and I actually had I redid a lot of it. I actually rewashed my duster and rewashed like certain parts, and then wiped everything down to clean it all off. And after I cleaned it up, I was a bit more happy with the weathering that I had. So I'm gonna use the wet cloth and kind of get into this crevice. I want the white to be very prevalent where I'm cleaning its center spot. And I'll need to move around the cloth because, again, the cloth is getting paint on it as I'm moving. And I will have to take breaks. I can dip this in and bring it out to have a clean wipe. I'm just going to hit this really quickly so that the paint doesn't get too dry, but then we're going to move on to the rest of the part. We don't want this whole thing to dry completely because then it'll be not, I'm not going to get the same appearance that I want. So you can see this is already drying pretty quickly. And again, this isn't on straight up plastic, this is on a paint material. So I'm going to have to hit this with water, but it is coming off. So even as I'm wiping, which I told you earlier I wasn't going to wipe, it is not coming off. There we go. Did you clear coat the armor before weathering? No, I did not. I normally I want this thing to chip, essentially. The white paint that's on here, if it chips off, it's white underneath, the material's white. So that would just add to the effect. So I was not worried about adding a coat of the kind of a sealant layer. And then, like I said earlier, I don't plan on doing a sealant layer on the over top of the weathering, because again, there's some really cool effects that you can get if you're legit stuck in the rain. So yeah, I'm gonna have to, like, the way this paint works versus like just doing a traditional TK, turning it into a sandy. Normally you're not painting that armor white because it's all just ABS and not a combination of ABS and resin. So I'm gonna go ahead and twist, and that's coming off pretty good. And it's this thing, you're thinking like, oh, I did all this work, and then now suddenly it's just like clean again. What the heck? But no, it'll have subtleties to it. The other big important thing is this is just the first layer. I'm gonna redo this section here. Again, I'm trying to leave a little bit behind, kind of like this little chunk there. And then I was gonna use this bucket for extra paints. That's whenever I mix the various colors. So if I squirt down the raw umber and it's a little bit too brown, I'll probably hit with either some white to lighten it up or some gray to help break it up, to make it seem a little bit more seamless with the existing gray that's on this piece. Again, I'm not going for a sand trooper look here. I gotta make sure I keep that in mind. And the cool thing about this, and I got that extra cloth there that we'll use, is I can actually just get this wet like I'm doing now, and then come back with the dry. And yeah, it leaves a little bit more. And the goal is I don't want to make it look like I'm an Oreo trooper where there's a little, cookies and cream action going on, because I feel like some parts of my snow trooper has that effect. And I think it looks kind of silly. It's a piece of glue on here that's keeping the paint, holding the paint there, which is interesting. We can peel that glue off. I really like the effect that I'm getting right now around this top part, which we'll show off here whenever we're done. And then I know a guy who had a sword trooper that he just finished recently, and honestly, he didn't want to do too much weathering to it, but it just doesn't feel like it's off, like right off the movie. It feels a little, I don't know, like I don't know, like a toy, like an action figure more than like a thing from the movie. And I don't know, that's just, to me, it doesn't look realistic. So it's worth, if the costume is weathered in the movie, just do it right. Get it weathered in this case. So Ben, it's just you and me, man. Hopefully all is going well. I'm freaking exhausted today. Work was pretty busy. And had a very successful meeting today with some people I had to impress. Not for our company, but for our customer. That's good. It went well. So there's some specs that I like here, but I'm gonna actually hit it again with some more gray, and then start hitting it with some of the brown in a little bit. I might just focus on this one piece for now. Impress the pants off of them. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, like there is a cybersecurity guy. He's a lead cybersecurity guy for the federal government. And normally, if he detects weakness on the phone, and he asks you a question and you can't like immediately respond and give him an answer that either he's looking for or is over his head, then he starts drilling you with more questions, and he just kind of tries to, like, I don't know, alpha male you, and it's stupid. And yeah, that shit didn't happen today. I was on the ball. I knew what I was looking for. I knew what answers he was going to ask, or questions he was going to ask, kind of, and had no problem answering any of them. And it felt good going out of that meeting, because the goal was I'm trying to encourage the government to use a product that is open source and free, and we're going to customize it to meet our needs. But you know, the issue was, you know, for whatever reason, if the government's like, I love Microsoft, and if it's not Microsoft, it's not safe. So, like, I think I mentioned that on the on chat last night. If you guys are in the RefundArcade chat, general chat, and it's just funny to me how people get like that. Sounds like an awesome guy. Yeah. I can't talk too much more about it, because I don't. Not that people are sitting here watching this, but because there's not a whole lot watching. It's just you and me. But I don't want to get myself in trouble. But yeah, the guy is he likes to kill innovation, because he usually doesn't try to learn new technologies, and he likes to find the risks in everything, which is fine, because as a cybersecurity manager and you're trying to protect your neck and protect your institution, it's kind of your job. But in the manner of not wanting to do anything new because you're afraid of new technology because you aren't willing to learn it, it's frustrating for me as a guy who is all about giving our customers something that's new and fresh and, you know, fun. Not really fun, but like people want to use it. Alright, so this is pretty good. I like this. I mean, look at, I don't know how well you can see it on camera, the very subtle kind of darkness, and it's like not too dirty right now. It's a little dirty. I'm gonna still hit it a little bit more. Again, I'd say that like maybe 99%, 98% of this came off. The cool thing is, whenever you've covered this completely, there's kind of now like a gray hue to all this. I'll have to tell you really sort of next time we're together. Yeah, that sounds good. See if I like that acrylic coming off. There we go. I don't know. The sand trooper in me wants me to get this dirtier, but I think that's probably a bad idea, because I want to do some more layers with it. And the big important goal here is I'm doing this one piece. I need to make it look almost identical, like weathering wise, to the other pieces. Especially if you're doing your top armor, it's not going to be as dirty as, you know, the lower armor usually, because it's where you're closer to the ground and it is weathering after all. So trying to get into these little crevices, and it's working a little bit. do need to go out and get some black shoe polish still. I haven't been out to the store a whole lot. Less is more. You can always go back later. That's correct. That is correct. And the glue spots that I have on here really hold some of the weathering, which is pretty slick. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it myself, seeing if I like it or not. I like it. Looks pretty good. I think the bottom's a little too grimy through here. Try to hit the inside a little bit more. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully you've been feeling well rested. I know for me, I'm just freaking tired. I don't know. I probably should have added some more tags to. Because normally with just chatting, I get a handful of folks in here, and maybe I didn't use the right tags. I didn't really spend a whole lot of time. I just want to get the stream up. Okay. So just to do a side-by-side comparison. I don't know if you can tell. From me being sitting kind of far away, I can't tell. Normally, whenever I go and rewatch the stream, I can tell. Yeah, this looks good. And again, this is just the gray. We'll add a little bit more with some darker colors. So this needs to dry though. Like this is still wet, like down in the crevices. So I don't want to like start smearing more different colored paints on here because it's gonna mix and it's gonna get kind of not the effect that I'm looking for. Let me see if I can smear the corners a bit more. So this is then that green brush you were talking about, right? This is the kind of material you were talking about. But the way you're weathering, I think liquid shoe polish could work out for you. It doesn't dry as quick as the acrylic, so you have a bit more working time. That's good. Yeah, I mean, again, to combat the short working time, especially with the paint, because again, the ABS plastic doesn't like set the acrylics as fast for whatever reason. I can always hit it with a washcloth, but yeah, that would be good. So the goal is like if it clumps up, I want it to look kind of like it's peeling, or it's like a speck, or maybe it's the paint chipped off. I was really genuinely thinking about painting all of the armor, even though it was ABS white to begin with. I was gonna paint everything with primer gray and like with a darker tone to it, and then do spots of, like you were saying, with Vaseline, and then hit spray paint everything with it, and then just peel off after everything dries and get that like shattered effect. Yep. So this scrubby sponge is not wet, but it's kind of taking off certain sections of the dried acrylic paint, which is what I'm trying to do around the edges and the where the contours of the return edges are for the armor, where that 3D effect is established. This looks good. I do think it's a little too dirty in here. It's a little too dirty in there. So I'm gonna try to have this other separate cloth. It's kind of like a canvas material that can kind of grab up some more of that junk. There it goes. That looks good. And I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. I was hoping to get a nap in today, and I did not. As we get older, I feel like we need a nap. I think it's more so once you have a kid, you feel like you need a nap on a regular basis too, because I don't know, you get tired. All right, so I'm gonna let this set. This looks pretty good. I'm happy with it for now. We'll move on to another piece. We're gonna try to mimic that exact same idea with the other piece, and then we'll kind of compare, because I'm hoping that I can get a very similar look. It's best to work on the same pieces together, so that's why I have both of the shin plates as well as both of the arm pieces together. Again, trying to get that same effect because you don't want to over weather your left and not your right, and it just looks, you know, piecemeal. I got the not DRM, DMCA free music right now going, so we can. Hopefully, it's not too loud. All right, so we're gonna move this out of the way. All right, back to this piece. We're gonna bring up our paints again. So I did about maybe 4 or 5 inches worth of paint in a blob. I guarantee I'll probably have to buy more of this. I probably should have bought 2. And I'm only just buying the Artist Lofts, like the cheaper stuff. I had to buy a Liquitex, the basic acrylics, like the next tier up, expensive acrylic for the burnt umber, or the raw sienna rather, sorry. Because they were sold out of the cheap stuff. And I'm not really like doing anything fancy. I'm not like Bob Ross in it over here, even though he uses oils. I might take off my headphones. I'm like enjoying the music as well. That's why I have them on. But they're making my ears worm. Happy little scuffs. So we have an armor party on Sunday over a buddy of mine's house that's in the 501st, Mando Mercs, and Rebel Legion. He lives over in Westover. And he's like, come on out. And I might go. I mean, I had my first vaccine shot, so I've got some immunity built up. I'm not going to not wear a mask either. That's this Sunday. It'd be good to see some folks again. I haven't seen some of those guys in over a year. And I got a new cadet. I'm a costume advisor for our garrison now, which essentially helps new users or new people that are coming in for the first time that want to do a Star Wars accurate costume, and they don't know necessarily where to start in that whole process. So I recently just started doing that, which has been cool. Funny thing is I've had three cadets assigned to me in the last few weeks since I started doing this, and 2 of them are MIA. One of them was like not even really around whenever I first got her. She was building a Death Trooper. Immunity doesn't kick in until 2 weeks after the 2nd dose. Really? So maybe I shouldn't go. Because I'm already immunocompromised. And the little boy, little mister as I like to call him, he is not allowed to have the shot. And I don't want to have to leave Lisa solo with him. That would be a lot of work. I did not know that it was like you had to have at least both doses and then wait 2 weeks after. It's good to know. I think that's probably where I may just change my mind then. Just for safety's sake. I'd advise against it, but you do you. Wear a mask 100% of the time. Yeah. I actually will probably just not go. Just simply for that reason. But anyway, the one cadet they went MIA. They kind of disappeared off the face of the earth, pretty much. The other one, like the guy showed up. He was like new to our forum. Was like, hey, I'm working on all these things. I just got an appointment. We got Natalie an appointment for Tuesday. Oh, cool. So she does not have to wait till June now. That's good. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. And then, so I have a new cadet. That cadet was the guy. He's like, oh, I'm here. I'm doing all this stuff. He moved from Virginia, I believe, and I'm like, hey, what are you working on? Like, he said he was working on a couple different clone troopers because he wanted to be dual Legion, essentially, with those costumes. I was spamming the refresh button on the Walgreens site. That's good. Glad that worked. Tell you what, man, like, if you were out here still, I know you're not. I mean, you haven't been out here in a long time, but, like, right now, it's so easy to get an appointment through WVU. Like, WVU and Mon Health, I guess, kind of joined forces for this setup they're doing. And they're pretty much doing it at the mall, at the old building where Sears is. Like, Sears is not a thing anymore. So they have, like, this legit, like, vaccine space, and it's massive. Like, it's the whole section of Sears, pretty much. The one whole section of Sears. So it's pretty efficient. I mean, I had an appointment. They gave you an appointment scheduling time, and I got there, and it took me about an hour to get through all the different lines to get my shot. Lisa was in and out in, I think, 45 minutes. But with Walgreens, I mean, it's a smaller building, so I bet that's much faster. But you live in a bigger city than I do right now, so I'm wondering, like, how efficient they are when you get to Walgreens and they're like, oh yeah, this is your appointment. You're gonna be, since this is a big city and you got a big old line, we're gonna get to you when we get to you. Did you get yours at the hospital that you work at, or did you have to go through a different process? I'd imagine since you work, well, you don't work at the hospital. You work there. You don't work at the hospital. Were you allowed to get it at like a kind of a different way, or did you go to a Walgreens as well? This is gonna dry faster than I can peel it, I bet. I got mine at the nearby the hospital. Okay. You flashed your doctor badge, right? And you're like, doctor, give me the priority shot. And they're like, yes, sir. I'll tell you what, though. We have an association with the surrounding hospitals. Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense, because they gotta send their people somewhere, and they're not always doing their own work, right? I mean, I'm sure they have morgues and stuff there, but like, I'm sure it's situational. So I'm just hitting this with the wet cloth right out of the gate here, instead of the dry one, because I'm just seeing how the paint stuck to the other paint surface so fast. I'm just gonna hit it with the wet, and I'm gonna hit it with the dry and get that smear effect now, which looks good. We're gonna wipe through here, that section there. Here's my Streamlabs bot. I don't actually have my other bot open right now, so. And I probably shouldn't go touch my keyboard unless I take off my gloves, because I'm covered in paint. So sorry, there's no audio sounds at the moment. Ugh. It's funny, I always build my costumes on the floor. Like, I rarely sit down somewhere that's not the floor to build these things. And the last, like, I started this in 2016. The last couple of years, I think, the last couple of years, it's been just killing my back. Getting too old for this stiff. Getting too old for sitting on the floor like this. You actually have a proper, like, bench seat. Prefer to work on the floor. It's so much easier, because the floor is then your table and your seat, so it's easier to find things sitting around you. this is really, really hazy. I'm gonna wipe a lot of that off. I'm gonna do a proper wipe because that is very gray. And then I'll follow up with the dry cloth. There we go. A lot of people will then take, and I have some too. This is 1,500 grit, like the super fine stuff. And then once they do that, they'll go over the dried spots and they'll kind of peel it off even further. So short circles, I'm going to come over here a little bit more because I know this is where the camera is. Short circles. And I'll probably only do this. Oh, it's 9:15. I'll probably do this. I mean, I gotta do the other. If I do one leg, I gotta do the other one. So I'll do at least these pieces tonight, and then we'll continue another night. I'm not super like anxious to get this approved, and then you know. I mean, I'm close. I'm very close to being done, and there's other strapping I need to do still that I haven't finished, which honestly will take me one evening to do the strapping, and I'll be able to move on. Kind of wiping down that crevice to get the gray to stay in that gap, which it is, which looks great. I'll go back to the wet again. And honestly, as this wet cloth gets dirtier, it smears the gray on, which looks good. We just gotta, like, I have streaking right now. There's a lot of streaking. You don't want that. That looks bad. So again, hitting it back up again, wiping it down with the dry. Twist, twist, twist. What games? I'm trying to think about. Hopefully, I don't know how long this will take for me to do the other two. Again, I'm gonna let these sit and dry overnight. Acrylics don't need overnight, of course, but I'm gonna let it dry overnight, and then get ready to do the other layer. I will do a straight black in the depths of sections, and when you get like the layering of the colors, I mean, it looks so freaking sweet. When you look at some folks' armor that they just do one layer of one color, it doesn't look bad. It looks good, but yeah, it's missing some depth that you can really achieve by even some subtle like blacks and other tones. My music stopped. Is it done? What happened? What video pause? Are you still watching? Yeah. Why would you do that to me? I think I just got paint on my mouse. Ugh. So this purple rubber glove that I have on, there is one of the pieces, I think I already did it, it's the other armor piece. Yep, right here. I don't know if you can see it. Probably not because of the lighting. But right where my finger's pointing, if you look underneath the white just a little bit, there is some super glued purple glove. Now my mouse is weathered. Yeah. I don't want weathering on my mouse. My mouse is supposed to be clean. So what are your thoughts been on? I mean, I guess, I mean, not that you got like an NES sitting around where you're at, but like, so I posted some photos on Facebook earlier of trying to get Cooper playing some NES games because I was cleaning a couple games that I bought a couple months ago. I have the actual key bit that you can unscrew the screws, the proprietary screws on NES and SNES games. And I needed to clean a couple games to get them to work because they just weren't working. And it's more than just wiping it down with rubbing alcohol. You can get a great way to clean the connectors is just using a piece of magic eraser and some rubbing alcohol to kind of wet sand the gold connectors. Works like a charm every single time. Love Cooper with the NES controller. Yeah, he's just chilling. And you know, I was on like stage 2 of the underground stage with Mario, the first Mario, and he's like, "Whoa, what are we doing?" So of course Lisa's trying to help him out, trying to figure out what to do, and of course he's not even a year old yet. And I just remember I was like 2 when my uncle handed me a controller and it wasn't even plugged in. So start him young, I guess. I just want him to like realize that he's able to control something on screen with a button press, because he loves, you know, he loves whipping a chord, and he loves seeing that effect, that he can affect something else with his body and his movement. So I'm trying to show that he can press a button and affect something on screen. And he was into it a little bit, but then all he wanted to do after a while was just suck on the controller. And Lisa's like, should we do that? And I'm like, I cleaned them before. I mean, they're old, but I mean, they're NES controllers. No one's gonna break that thing. I mean, Cooper's not gonna break that NES controller. Of all controllers to break, yeah, I don't know about that. I've known kids in our day that would get angry and throw that thing across the floor and pick it back up, and it would still work. So he's not gonna break it. And I don't speak from experience. It wasn't me throwing the controller. I've probably thrown a couple Sega Genesis controllers in my day, though. Not an NES controller. Never really got any overly mad at anything at that time frame. So I'm using that green sponge again to kind of get underneath those gaps to get the junk out and keep a little bit in the crevice. I just pulled a little bit too much off that I didn't want to pull off, but again, like you said earlier, I can always go back and add more. So I was trying to find some like license-free like video game remixes. I know Amanda plays like Nintendo-based things on her stream. That was my goal, but I didn't want to spend too much time finding something tonight. But I do think that's going to be my goal, is to have that, and not during when I'm playing games, but like whenever we're doing something like this. Because it's kind of nice to have music in the background. I actually pull up Amanda. I was telling her yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? I was helping her with her computer build, which, by the way, it works. Amanda built her own computer, forced herself to learn it because the guy that was going to help her bailed on her, and she, you know, hit me up for a couple questions, and then we ended up figuring out later on that, you know, she didn't mess anything up. She just needed to update her BIOS on the motherboard because it was using an older BIOS, and the processor she had was a little bit newer. So once we did that, she was golden. So she was installing Windows earlier. So kudos to her building that computer, just watching videos online, and I helped her with setting up like the wiring with regard to like getting the power hooked up to everything and the hard drive. But I mean, everything else was on her, so she did an awesome job with that. So that's cool. Best way to learn is just figure it out on the internet. That's how I started doing my stuff. And now my company asked me to build all of our workstations at the office, which is good experience, because then I don't have to pay for it and I get to build it. Hey, we're streaming. It's just Ben right now, chilling.
Cool.
I'm just doing the weathering stuff. I'm only going to do these 4 pieces tonight. I'm not going to do it all night.
Did you give a weather report before you started weathering?
A weather report? Are you just joking? Are you making mom jokes?
I'm making jokes. Bad ones. How's your weathering?
I don't know. I think I'm getting a little too dirty than I want it to be. So I'm trying to clean it up. Again, less is more, as Ben was saying.
Yeah.
And I think with the sand trooper, get dirty. Like, it needs to look dirty. With this,
You're riding the tank. You're a tank trooper.
I mean, he's a little dirty. I mean, he's greasy. He's right in the greasy tank. Again, the idea of grays and blacks to simulate grease on the armor is what it says on the CRL.
Let's assume you actually do mechanic duties.
Well, I mean, if you're in, you know, I don't know.
Guess it depends on how much a peon you are, right?
Well, I have a commander rank based on what the build
you
is.
Should be cleaner, right?
Maybe. I want to not look too clean. I want to look like I've seen some shit. Because then they know you're a professional, not a green boy who just got out of boot camp.
I've been wearing this armor all my life.
I will let you judge my weathering, though. I'd like for you to do that right now, actually, if you're cool with it. You mind?
What do you want me to do?
I have the armor, the two. I'm gonna do the insides of this a little bit more.
See if it's even?
Yeah, seeing if it's even.
Yeah.
So maybe I need to take this down a little bit more. So which one was I working on just now? The one that's wet. This one's the one I'm working on. Which one is this one?
You got the Cooper Cam on?
Cooper Cam's on. It's right there. I got the volume on too.
Alright, cool.
Alright. By the way, I saw that eye roll you did last night when I mentioned I was getting a tattoo. I did an eye roll. I feel like I wouldn't have done an eye roll. Maybe I did an eye roll because I'm thinking Ben getting a tattoo. I just never.
Long enough.
I don't know. I mean, I could see you having a tattoo. I did a little eye roll.
Was the eye roll at the fact that you are getting a tattoo, or was the eye roll the fact that you're like the type of tattoo?
No, I think it's fine. The type of tattoo. It sounds pretty badass. I mean, coming from Ben, like knowing like what his style is,
yeah, like
it's gonna be something like that. And I think it's awesome. I think the design you picked is cool. You know, I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe I was thinking Ben getting a tattoo. I don't know why I thought that. Like, do any of your brothers have have tattoos? I know they were in the military, but that doesn't mean they get tattoos. All right, come eyeball and tell me what you think. Are you allowed to be on stream, or you don't want to be on stream? If you don't come over,
just show it to me right here.
They hadn't I hadn't mentioned the type yet. Oh, yeah. I would be the first. My one brother had his ear pierced. Okay. This one's a little bit needs to be wiped down a little bit more. But do you think that's too much?
They're close to being whether.
But do you think this is too much? Should I lighten it up more?
That one I would.
This one I will, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more.
But do you think
I
even this
go darker than that?
Do you think even this is too much?
I don't know. I feel like that's probably okay, but don't go darker than that.
What if I added all right, so the next question is eventually I was going to add another color to this.
As long as you do it in like a spotty kind of.
So what I'm going to do
not a whole lot of
is I'm going to add black next, or maybe some brown. Well, not brown, it's like a dark brown. But the idea is I was going to put black through here and then wipe it all off. So there'd be like little specks of black through here as well in the crevices. Or should I do it down through here? Or do you think one color is fine?
I mean,
I
know you like the layering thing. I think if you do it along those edges where it's not gonna like
here or here?
The
this?
top one. No,
this.
That one, yeah. I feel like that might be a little bit better just because maybe it'll wipe off more. I don't know.
Everything will wipe off. I can wipe it off. It's just
just don't go crazy. Like it's already pretty
crazy.
Pretty good. No, I would. Go stupid, go crazy.
Go crazy, go stupid.
Yeah, I just don't want it to be like super weathered the way your sand trooper is. I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
And even your snowy, I feel like your snowy is even would make sense, like being more weathered than your tank trooper.
Really? Because I'm walking around and not like on a tank?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Because Hoth's weather is brutal, and
I feel like I bought too much paint variety then.
Oh, whatever. It's okay.
Okay.
I mean, how about this? Try it. Maybe you'll like it.
Try it. You'll like it.
And you could do a little bit. Just don't do a whole lot.
Were you surprised when Ben said he was gonna get a tattoo?
Surprised?
I don't know. I guess surprised. I think I was surprised. Like, I'm not like anti Ben getting a tattoo.
No, I don't know if I would say I was surprised. I was just thinking, is that okay? And where do you put it? Is it allowed to show? Because I was thinking of the nurses at the hospital. And I don't know if that's different, like depending on the level that you're at, if it seems more or less professional. I have no idea.
I think he's wearing a lab coat most of the time, so.
Okay.
I mean, and he's like elbow deep in dead people. So again, I don't think they care.
You don't have to worry about the opinions of anyone. That's cool. No,
Ben will start having dreams that the dead guy's gonna wake up on the table and be like, "Oh,
cool tattoo.
That tattoo? I don't know about that one." And you're like, "What? Did I make a mistake?"
No, that's weird.
Nah.
If you have dreams about dead people waking up, there's another problem, right?
Yeah, I think at that point it's kind of funny. No, I think it'd be kind of cool. Like I think it would suit you. You know, Ben, I haven't seen you in so long, and every time I do see you,
he's cooler looking.
Now this sounds so
You're
stupid.
Like, damn, I need hair
not that I dream about you on a regular basis, but whenever you're in my dream, you have long hair like all the time. Even though I've seen you probably more frequently, of course, recently at like Caitlin's wedding, and even before that with short hair, because you haven't had long hair.
Do you dream about him with a mustache?
I do.
A mustache
and
long hair?
Well, no, I dream about him with a beard too, the goatee beard, or sometimes a full beard. Not that, man, this sounds like I'm dreaming about him like all the time. Like, oh, I'm thinking about Ben. Maybe I am.
It's alright.
Oh, he has a drawing of it. Oh, that's pretty cool. So do you have... Hello, don't hide it. Do you have... For me, if I ever got a tattoo, I would do exactly what you're doing and find the artist that you trust and then like make your journey to that location. I remember I was getting my haircut at a place where you get your haircut.
A barber?
No, it was like what would you call sport clips? It's not really a barber. I guess it's a barber, but it's like
not a barber shop?
I guess it's a bunch of women cutting men's hair.
Hair cuttery.
It's a hair cuttery. And she had this like sleeve, and everything was like either Pokemon or Sailor Moon, and it looked so photorealistic. I'm like, where did you get that done? That's your shitty idea of it? Well, you got a good idea of it. I'm just curious, like, so you'd want to get that guy to draw it a couple times and be like, hey, can you add this? Can you do this? So it's interesting. I can see that the seams that I have for where the ABS plastic meets the Bondo that seals the resin right here is starting to crack, and it actually looks good. I don't know if you can see it. It's right below my thumb right now. The lighting is kind of difficult. It's causing a little bit of like a kind of a hairline crack right there, which it's not like it's a gap. It's not like it's actually going to come off. So it looks really good. He's got a wide range of talent. That's good. I mean, I there's a handful of tattoo shops I think in Morgantown. I just don't. I mean, I don't know if I looked into anything like. I think Wild Zero's gone now, right? I think there's a handful that have kind of come and gone.
The building is gone. I don't know
that's right.
Where they relocated to.
If they relocated at all, or if they...
I don't know. Hey, yeah, Ben, can you hear me?
He can hear you. It's hot mic.
Ben, if you remember where the locker room was, that there was like those 3 old buildings. There was locker room, an antique store that I swear was never open.
It was never. It was open by appointment.
Yeah, by appointment
Which is
only.
stupid. How do you make business?
And then there was Wild Zero's right next to it. At least that was one of the businesses that was there. They ripped out that entire like building block within like the last month or so, and I can't remember what they're putting there, honestly.
He says his buddy works at Stick Tattoo.
Oh, okay.
Stick Tattoo is kind of like the big boys in town.
Yeah. And honestly, when they first opened up, I wasn't sure if they were a tattoo place or if they did car wraps.
Don't they do both?
I think they might. I don't know.
I think they do both. I could be wrong. Cause I kept seeing car wraps.
Yeah, I see it. There's a truck or two in town, and I don't know. It looks like they do tattoos and they do marketing, but I have no idea.
Yeah, Stick Tattoo is like you see a lot of marketing in Morgantown for them. And I think their shop's pretty big. I think it's over there it's up by our house, isn't it? Isn't it over there by Permanis?
Yeah. At least it looks like that's the one location. I don't know.
I wonder if they have two locations or not.
They might.
Two of his things. Holy crap, that's awesome. Oh, that Spider-Man's freaking sweet, man. Oh. That's like a Django. The Django Fett thing going on there. What are you okaying? What's up? You good? Is everything alright?
They wanted to do Oxford. There's only 4 people on, so I don't know what's going on.
I thought they wanted to do that on Saturday. Didn't they say Saturday? Alright. Let's eyeball this again. We gotta get these two somewhat similar. Write this down a little bit more. That crevice again. Lighten that up. I want the gray hues a little bit, but then you got to twist off the smooth area where it's going to look like garbage. There we go.
As a private business. Yeah.
What's that? Private business?
He's right. He's right.
Are you going to talk to people in chat while I'm talking? People are just going to... Alright, it's fine. This is his Mando. He's got the jetpack. That's good. Can't really see the rest of his costume, but looks good. This music's getting hopping right now. I think it changed to a different genre. This doesn't fit the tone, but we're gonna roll with it. I don't have time to pre-screen my music. That's my problem. I wanted to stream and I wanted to have some music in the background. So now we're at a rave. Anyway, we're good with this for now. I like it. The top parts match quite well now. The sides look similar. Again, they don't need to match. They need to look similar. Similar amount of dirt. I'm gonna actually change this music. I mean, it's not bad, but let's see what else we got here.
We could always find
There we go. That works. If there's a lot of singing in this, we'll also change it. Turn this down a little more. It's kind of loud still.
So what's your cutoff time?
All right. Let's move on to the more challenging part because there's a lot more crevices than just this. I need to go back and clip that part where you describe how you dream about me. You should. You should. And I can actually download those clips that you make. Well, some of the clips that you make and like Casey and other folks make, I actually download them to my computer so I can actually make a montage when I have enough to make a montage because most of them are like 30 seconds or less. So at some point on YouTube, I'll make a montage video, edit it all together, and just have like a series of just goofy things. All right, so with this one, this is the right leg. The boomerang's on the right side. Sniper knee plate, which is on this guy, is always on a stormtrooper's left leg, this piece. So that's how you know the difference, to remember. The cool thing about this is now finished. The back opens up just a little bit, enough to get my leg in there, and then this closes like that. It pinches together. And I legitimately use these straps with the Velcro right here inside each to attach to the Velcro that's right here and at the bottom. And it holds this piece together so I don't have to put Velcro or any latch hooks down back through the back seam. So it's really slick. It's awesome how that works. There's a recommendation on some short troopers that I saw. They were doing it that way, and I said, gotta do it that way too. Yep, but this is the right side. I did note it inside the armor piece. A lot of people do that too. There's a little bit of ink somewhere. I have an R in there, but again, sniper knee plate's always on the left side. This is going to need a lot more paint. We're going to start with that next. We'll hit this right one. My goal with this, look at all these ribbed crevices. We're going to get paint in there. We got to make sure it looks nice and dirty. That's the goal. Again, we're trying to achieve the same dirtiness level. Man, this is a little dirty, isn't it? It looks good. It'll look good. I like looking dirty. All right, so we got our gray paint that we didn't use all the way up. We'll use all that up first, and then we'll squirt some more so we're not wasteful. Rib for your accuracy.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna do half of this. I'm gonna probably stop up around here, and so I'm gonna start from here down. Get the first strap and everything kind of weathered, and then start peeling that off. I might not. We'll see if I need to start peeling it off. But if it dries too quick, I want to start cleaning it up, so I don't have to sit there and scrub it with a wet rag. But here we go. I might need to go get something else that's going to be a little bit more crevice-y friendly, like my toothbrush I was talking about. What are you talking about, Lisa?
Oh no, it's the real one.
What are you talking about over there?
Talking about giving Cooper the NES to play Mario. No, we don't.
We don't have what? What are you saying? We don't what?
The tube TV so you can play Duck Hunt.
We don't have a tube TV. We don't actually have a duck hunt. We don't have a blaster. Whatever they're called, I forget.
Yeah, we don't actually have that.
We don't have the gun. We have duck hunt. We have duck
We
hunt.
do have Duck Hunt?
We have duck hunt.
No, we do have Duck Hunt. We have the blaster thing for it?
We don't have the blaster.
No gun.
The gun. We don't have the gun. We can get one, but we have to have a TV that would be compatible. Yeah, I have no idea what this music is. Like, I've never heard it before in my life. I just know that
Hogan's Alley also.
Hogan's Alley is way better than Duck Hunt. Hey, can you do me a favor, Lisa?
What?
When you have a second.
What?
When you have a second, there is a toothbrush in the utility sink. Can you bring it in here?
Yeah.
You don't have to do it right now. You can do it whenever you have a moment. But I will need it. Again, I gotta stop wiping. I'm wiping a little bit here. I'm getting a little lazy, which is bad. Because wiping causes a streak, and whenever you wipe off the streak with the wet cloth, it doesn't look natural. It looks like you're just painting with a paintbrush. And that's not my goal, because if I wanted to do that, I would just paint with a paintbrush, and that weathering technique just, it doesn't look good in my opinion. And I have no problem weathering and painting the Velcro that I've got. That's fine. Running low on paint. Thank you. So, just gonna get my toothbrush loaded like it would be a paintbrush, pretty much. I'm gonna just cram it and tap it into the crevice. And I will have to go back over that spot that I'm kind of roughing up with the paintbrush. Some more grays here. I definitely should have bought more gray. I will have to make a trip this weekend, I think. So, see that gap? It is completely covered in gray, like down in this section here. Whereas over here, you can see a white line a little bit. I don't know if you can see it on camera. There's a white line down there that I've got to completely cover. That white line is no go, because normally that would be one of the dirtiest spots. Because that's where all the dirt would sit and not come out. So you got to tap in it, and the bristles really work with that. So once we do these 4 pieces, we have the shoulder bells, the hand plates. There's 2 hand plates that are super small that won't take long at all to do.
I'm just getting it first so we can figure something out.
And the chest back plate, and I think that's it. Oh, the ab plate and the kidney plate, and those are bigger pieces, so those pieces will take a little bit more time. I'm trying to shove my sponge into the gap as best I can, because I really don't want it to be clean back there. I almost want to like just squirt paint in there and let it run and then try to wipe it out, but that might look kind of dorky, fake. So, again, since there's a lot of little ridges to this, I'm just trying to cake on the paint inside. And the paintbrush, could be used here, but the toothbrush gives a more like tacked on approach. The paintbrushes are of course designed to put things on smoothly. Be right back, alright. We will see you in a second.
It's only like super hard then. Right.
Man, I just got paint on my arm. What are your guys doing?
Dentist? What chat is that in? Okay.
Lisa?
Really?
My wife doesn't talk to me anymore. soak my arm later. Getting a lot of junk on my arm.
We're doing this hard mode.
So when I did my Sand Trooper, it took me about 21 hours to do all the weathering, but that also had a lot more parts. Well, a lot more. It had 5 pieces, and the back plate was a bit bigger and more exposed to people when they looked at it. So,
It's super easy.
swap it this way.
What are you bringing? Single target or AoE? Okay.
Lisa is setting up a raid or an operation, it sounds like, in Star Wars The Old Republic. Did you ever cancel, Lisa?
What?
Did you ever cancel
Cancel what?
your subscription?
No, not yet.
Are you going to?
Eventually, yeah.
When are you going to do it?
I don't know.
Why don't you do it right now?
Because I'm busy.
You're busy standing around.
I'm busy getting a group together.
Oh.
Are we doing group finder? I bought the legendary Ember.
Any more gray? Yeah, I'm going to have to definitely probably buy another tube of this. Just one. Not a ton. Don't bully my wife.
Taking.
How am I bullying her? Because she's not canceling her subscription to Star Wars?
Somebody sent me a message in Gen Chat.
What are they saying in Gen Chat? She doesn't talk to me, that's the
What?
thing. This music's, meh. Meh. I think I'm ready to start cleaning some of this up. Just gonna do this last part
Yeah.
all the way across. I did a little bit higher than I expected, but I'm gonna go to that one spot and then we'll stop, let it dry a little bit.
So, should we just join up in group finder? Yeah, that.
Cover this up a little bit more.
I got him. We're good. Yeah.
So the question is, do you weather your soft goods? I'll probably use it with some powders and get those a little dusty. Not much, because they're underneath everything.
Somebody should do this.
But they shouldn't look, they don't need to be like overly dirty. But they don't need to look super pristine either. The problem is you wash those soft goods on a regular basis to keep yourself not smelling like disgusting. So whatever weathering you put in will just wash right out in the laundry. So normally I just put a little bit of powders on, kind of dust it off, and that's it. So here we want to make sure we don't have any fingerprints. That's the lower half. I want to do the upper half. There's a lot more detail there in a little bit. I just know that I stopped right below the top buckle. I'm gonna kind of clump this up. This is extra fabric that I had. I was using it for the lower levels of the armor, and I'm gonna try to go down through this middle section. It's kind of white. Let's see how that comes off.
Oh, sorry. I know how to do that.
This is looking good. Hey Zanon, what's going on, dude? What are you doing? You're not. It's daytime where you are, right? So what are you up to? Just hanging? Just dealing with the plague, you know how it is. Yeah. So you just hiding, staying low. Have you had a chance to get a vaccine where you're at? Is that something that you plan on doing, or are you a little concerned about it, or what are your thoughts there? Not that if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine too. I know it's kind of like a political question in some people's minds, but if you don't want to talk about it, that's completely reasonable.
No.
I got my first shot this past Monday. Yeah, we're working on some Star Wars costume stuff tonight, just a little bit. I got one more armor piece that I'm gonna do, another leg, because I did the two bracer pieces. Not yet. I think I'll wait a bit. I did hear that one of the vaccines caused a blood clot in someone. I wonder if they had an existing condition. I'm curious. But yeah, I don't know. Everyone's gonna react differently to that whole process, like with regard to their health. Like vaccines are usually pretty cut and dry, but like there's always those outliers of people that have the one weird case. It was mainstream news, so it was blown out of proportion. I thought there was a follow-up study that showed where there is no increased risk. Yeah, I don't know. I do not know. Let's see if we can wipe some of this off now with the wet cloth. Try to get the bulk off. There are some lower spots that I'm going to show off here in a second once I get the bulk of this wiped down. But I will want to keep dirty. Again, we'll have to go up a little bit higher when we're done here. I wiped off a little bit too much.
So can you keep going, or like?
Do you have an itchy nose yet? I bet your nose is super itchy and you want to scratch it. What? Oh. My wife's sitting over in the corner playing video games. Trust me, I want to do other things with my hands besides, like, I want to go touch my mouse and change this music, but it ain't happening right now. We got what we got. I don't know what this music is. We're just gonna roll with it. It's just free and fun, I guess. I don't know. This isn't necessarily my style of music. Ask wife to do it. Hey Lisa, will you change my music? She doesn't care. She's like trying to organize an operation or a raid in Star Wars right now. It's no good. So what else have you guys been up to? 0 of 10 would not wife. No, she's a good wife. She's just distracted. And she's got headphones on. She probably doesn't hear me right now.
I mean, I could pick up somebody else's job if you want
So I get this. I'm gonna have to swap out and clean these cloths off soon. Twist and twist. Twist the paint off. Get the pattern we're looking for.
What did you do?
Redeem hydrate. Oh shit. I have that covered.
Really? I gave him ops. Please.
Okay. Just reform, Lisa. Just reform options. Yeah, if you make me have to pee.
Fuck.
If you make me have to pee, that's gonna suck. Because I will have to disappear for a minute. Run upstairs and get new gloves. Yeah, these lower spots are looking really good. I'm not showing a whole lot on stream because I'm trying to work quickly before some of this paint gets too dry, and then it's a pain in the butt, and it doesn't like flake as well. Double hydrate. Okay, I'm just gonna have to leave the cap off because I'm getting paint on it. Let's just hope that I don't knock over the bottle. This right here is a bucket full of water. So I need it for washing the paint off of the rags. When I saw Hydra, I was jokingly thinking, like, "I'll just drink out of the bucket." What else is going on? I gotta stop this music. This music's garbage. I can't do it. Can't do it. Hold on a second. What else we got here? What else is new? Not a whole lot. We've been prioritizing the little boy, and he's been taking up a lot of our time. Where is the... I gotta get my music sorted at some point. We'll go back to this music. This was pretty good. I just got more paint on my mouse.
Alright, so
It's so loud. Hold on. Too loud.
Can we just queue for one?
There we go. Alright, so. Yeah, he's taking up all my time. My wife, too. And in the evenings, we're still playing games. We try to. He gets to bed around 8 o'clock Eastern time. Our time zone, and then at that point we've got some more free time for ourselves, but it's been hit or miss. Like sometimes you're just so freaking exhausted you just want to go to bed. But trying to finalize this costume. We are now finished with the build process, besides a couple strapping efforts I need to do where I got to strap on shoulder straps for my ab plate so it doesn't like slink down on my waist while I'm walking around. But other than that, it's just weathering everything. This costume does require a bit of weathering before it can be approved. And just trying to wrap this up pretty soon. Get this costume finalized. But I've been playing really some casual games, really. I haven't really been playing any shooter games lately. And it's kind of like mellowing, to be honest. Like I love shooters, but like there's like some sort of anxiety that it introduces to your mind. I swear. I don't think I've played anything new at all. We played a couple new FMV games on stream recently. We played another one just this last week, and it's called I Saw Black Clouds. Don't recommend it. Don't buy it. It sucks. I didn't legitimately refund it because I couldn't, and I probably maybe I wouldn't have. I don't know. I was disappointed with like how they took the storyline. I love FMV games. Oh, I don't have my audio on right now, or my bot in there. FMV games are super hit and miss. Yeah, mainly miss. I don't know. I love them if they do them right. If they do them right. my favorite FMV. And FMV is kind of an interesting title for games because some of them are more like point-and-click adventures. Some of them are actually just more like interactive movies, and that's what we were playing recently, was an interactive movie. My favorite interactive movie that I've played in a while has been Late Shift, and that was, it's been a couple years since I've played that. And I don't know. Have any others that come to mind right now? So cheesy though. There's like a nostalgia thing for me because like some of the FMV games from the 90s I just love. One of my favorite FMV games of all time is the X-Files FMV game that came out in like the late 90s. It's probably because I'm a huge X-Files buff, but maybe not. I don't know. We're gonna clean this brush off, and I'm gonna throw some brush bristles into. Trying to clean this up a little bit, even though it's just making it messier. There's a lot of paint in these crevices that I'm trying to clear out. I don't think I ever played an FMV game when I was younger. My first FMV game, if I can recall correctly, was Myst. Because it was, they had live actors in it, if that qualifies. If it wasn't Myst, it was probably a game called D. It was on Sega Saturn and PlayStation 1. It was it was very like Myst-esque, kind of puzzle solver. Oh, you know what? D, now that I think about it, D had no live actors in it. It was all 3D characters. And if you go back to it, it doesn't hold up at all. But yeah, D was a game that wasn't too bad. It wasn't horrible. It doesn't hold up graphically today, but it wasn't horrible at the time.
Should have done a ready check first.
I've been wanting to get into more point-and-click games, but I don't think they would be very popular on stream. Like, the idea of a point-and-click game to me, is puzzle solver type things, and it's not like the boring ones that like your say your mom plays. I don't want to say like it's not those boring point-and-click games that are like Nancy Drew or some of those old school Sherlock Holmes games and stuff like that, which is just super boring. I like this kind of pixelated style, character-driven, like a game called like the Blackwell Legacy series that I've talked about before on stream. I vaguely remember an FMV arcade game at local arcade. It's a Wild West shooter. There's a couple of them out there. There's one called Lethal Enforcer, which was a police officer, like kind of modern era. And then there is a couple, I can't think of the Western one off the top of my head right now. I know exactly, there's a couple of them, I believe. I'm trying to remember the one you're talking about. But Lethal Enforcer was a good one. Maybe Lethal Enforcer. Again, it was like live actors that would pop out and you'd have to shoot them, kind of a thing, instead of like a cartoon character. There's a couple other games that are like that too. I think Area 51, where you were shooting aliens, but they had like military people that would pop in and be like, "Don't shoot me," that kind of stuff. This would have been back in the early 90s, remembering thinking the graphics were so amazing. Yeah, thinking about any arcade game in the early 90s, and going to the arcade and seeing, oh man, the graphics look so good on this. I just remember playing in the mid to late 90s, when Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 3 were coming out. On home console, it just didn't look as good as the arcade. And then once the PlayStation 1 came out, it was almost a direct port. Not quite, but almost a direct port. The only bummer with the PlayStation 1 version was if you played, and I'm specifically talking about like Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, if you played Shang Tsung, and you would do a character morph into somebody else on a PlayStation, it would have to load for a split second, so the whole fight would just stop for like 2 seconds, maybe 2 to 3 seconds probably, and then suddenly morph, and then you keep playing, and it just kind of took you out of the experience. And I remember on PlayStation 1, they gave you the option to do limited morphing, where Sang Chung can only pick certain select characters that he could turn into, and it would just auto load really quickly. That disc load times, though, yeah. Back in the day, that was the struggle. And of course, on arcade, it was dedicated on the onboard memory, and it was dedicated, like we were saying. So it would load instantaneously, and it wouldn't have that restriction that even home consoles of newer home consoles had restriction-wise. So just to show this off, see how clean this rib piece is? Whereas now, the crevices in this piece are so dirty looking. So it adds almost a layer of kind of 3D effect to just looking at this. And I love the way it looks. So that's going to be great when that dries. Again, Lisa was telling me to only do one layer for now. Today, yeah, we're just going to do the one layer. And honestly, I don't know if I'm going to do the other shin tonight. I mean, I can still eyeball it later and make sure it looks similar. I might call it a little early. It's like 10:15 here Eastern. But
that's what you're looking for. Right?
Moving my arms so much, like my arms are tired, and I got to do like the top part still here. I got to go from like this top up to do all this weathering still.
Right. Yeah. We got a buddy looking for him too.
But yeah, I keep saying I'm not in a rush to get this done, but I'm really looking forward to seeing it done. This by far is probably the most work I've put into a costume in quite some time. I think the Sand Trooper was probably equal effort because I had to build the backpack as well. But I didn't have to do any painting with the Sand Trooper besides like the weathering components and some minor painting changes from it being a Stormtrooper. Whereas this, I had to like take the white ABS, completely paint everything white again. So this is like a layer of paint, of spray paint that I'm putting weathering effects on, and having to repaint the entire armor was very time consuming. And then I had to wait for good weather because you don't want to spray paint when it's too cold out. That ruins it can cause some orange effects that are not good. I'm getting some messages right now for some actual Star Wars stuff right as we speak. Let's see.
No. The thing where you actually buy like the unique item.
Okay. Nothing I have to worry about right now. I've started helping out with the Bounty Hunter Guild. Actually, I'm kind of the main POC for their web stuff for the Bounty Hunter Guild. Detachment in 501st, and we're dealing with some mail server stuff. Well, not mail server stuff, but mailing issues. It's a long story. It's some of it can be resolved, some of it can't be resolved, some of it's tied to certain email domains flagging emails as spam versus not, and it's a long story. You can't weather in cold weather. You can, yeah. You can't spray paint in the cold weather, unfortunately, which sucks. But I'm done with the whole the spray painting process now, so it can go back to cold if it wants to. It's actually starting to warm up here now in the springtime. Today was like lower, I think upper 70s in Fahrenheit, lower 80s maybe. Our house upstairs gets really warm in our upstairs level. And I'm in the basement right now. And so down here it's usually the coolest and most comfortable. So poor Cooper, he's upstairs in our bedroom, like the highest level. But we have the air conditioner controlled based on the temperature in our bedroom. Back to single digits for you guys. It's it's flipping. You guys are on the other side of the equator, so it's starting to get cold, right? You guys strangely have summertime Christmas, which is bizarre to us where we're at.
He sent me a message and he's like, I think I know your name. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe.
There's all these weird people messaging you all of a sudden.
He's like, you're one of the best scoundrel healers. I'm like, I mean, I'm decent. I don't know if I'm the best. But, you know, people didn't get rid of me.
And summer barbecues at Christmas time.
You, 'cause you gotta,
Yeah,
like,
that's true. That's true.
brush them off and vet them all.
It's an interesting dynamic for Christmas time there. Like Christmas for you guys is very different than how we do things. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just that when it's July for us, we're doing the cookouts and the grilling and all that stuff. So I'm gonna try to hit this a little bit. Yeah, there we go. I like that. Again, the toothbrush is super handy for a lot of this. Get into the crevices, whether you're applying paint or removing it. And then once you hit it, let it dry a little bit. And then tap that piece off. Again, in my opinion, the lower part of the leg needs to be dirtier than the upper part. And as we go up higher on the costume, it gets cleaner. But not by much. It's kind of this big outdoor holiday with beach sun fun, kind of like the 4th of July, except for there's presents and less fireworks. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, that's how we celebrate our 4th of July, is literally like outdoor stuff, like you're saying, like the barbecues and the grilling and all that fun stuff outside. Whereas in Christmas time, we don't do that. Of course, it's too damn cold. But if I had to choose between Christmas presents and fireworks, I'd always choose Christmas presents. I think fireworks are pretty boring nowadays as I got older. I think the only fireworks I care about are if you go to Disney World or Disneyland and you go check out their Fancy Sman's fireworks show. Because it's, they do, custom shapes and stuff like that in the sky. They'll do like Mickey Mouse shaped ears and all that fun stuff. Because the downside is during July, we don't do anything interesting. All of our public holidays are in the first half of the year. Yeah, we have I swear, like in our country, we have like a freaking holiday every single month. Granted, mileage may vary. Like in May coming up, we have Mother's Day.
It's all good. I mean,
and I think the Mother's Day and Father's Day and stuff, they're different. Maybe you're a firework. Yeah, everyone just plays. Yeah, as in on everybody in the United States, they just play that on they play that song specifically on 4th of July all the time. Nah, I lie. That's not true. I've got paint all over my arm. It's okay. It's okay. Again, look at the subtleties of the kind of the dark colors are in the crevices here. I'm going to leave that there in these little ridges down here. I haven't done all the weathering up here. We're going to do that here in just a second. So we're going to rough up those spots through here, get them a little bit more grimy looking. And then try to wipe them down with the dry cloth. So give it a second. Wipe it with the dry cloth.
Somebody, there are guardians. Regulators reborn.
Good thing I'm wearing grayish pants.
Oh my god.
You're currently not aware. That's not hip music, man. That's like some Katy Perry song from like who knows when. That's like from a couple years ago. But it's okay to not be in hip music because music nowadays kind of sucks.
Can I do that for our own?
I find myself, if it's not video game music, there's a couple indie bands that I follow for smaller known bands. But then outside of that, like
gross.
I predominantly listen to
Why are
music
you
from like the
listening to
70s and
Coldplay?
80s.
What the? God damn it.
Yeah. My wife's cursing on stream. I apologize about that. Good thing we're not family friendly here, but I would be like I would be flagged by Twitch. Hey, at least I'm not sitting in a hot tub right now, like all the girls are doing on the other channels.
You could be in a hot tub.
Your music taste stopped at 94. Man, 94. Yeah, Lisa, jeez. What the heck?
Caleb was the guild leader. We already decided he would disband and kick everybody. Because he's a jerk face like that.
So there's some staining effects going on right now. I don't know if you can see it on stream, but like this is way more white right here where I'm at, where I'm pointing, than like up here.
What are these guild perk things listed?
And then look at that crevice piece. That looks pretty good. Again, the high spots are cleaned off, the low spots are dirty. And then on the front, you're never going to really see it unless someone's looking from the side. And that happens quite a bit. I want to get the real full experience, even if you're a little kid, down low and you're checking out my armor. It looks like I've been romping around in the dirt. That's the goal.
His reputation rewards from operations. Good for 20
There's a spot that I think looks like trash. We're going to try to clean that up. So one of the things too is like this type of scuffing. I just rubbed it on the brush on this right through here. That's kind of a cool effect. I will go back and do that kind of stuff later on. You just get like just a little bit of damp paint on your brush and just kind of smear it on the crevices, and we can kind of start that process. The better thing to do rather than paint is Fuller's Earth or some sort of chalk that you chop up, because then now when I wipe this down, it leaves that kind of gray haze. And so I'll hit it a little bit with the water. Yeah, that looks good. I just got a bunch of paint on my thigh right here. It'll wash off in the wash.
Leaderboard or bust. That's good. Are we actively recruiting?
Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to start going from about the lower part of the buckle here and going up. I'm going to do the inside of this knee plate, the boomerang as they call it, and I'm going to do up in the inside here. One of the things that I'll do after everything's weathered on the outside is I'll go back to this costume. And like this is where my leg would be sitting. That's where like, my knee would be down in this. That's where this is padding that I've added to keep my shin from sliding while I'm wearing my boot. It'll stay stationary. But I'll even come back and weather this inside spot in the inside the armor. So if people come down, they like kind of peek down into my armor. Again, little kids. I want them to get the full real experience. That'll look like I'm dirty even in the little bit of the inside gap. So if you looked at my Sand Trooper armor, the edges on any of my inside pieces are also weathered as well to give that same effect.
I don't see that option, sadly.
I kind of wish this was a little bit.
How about humor?
We'll do the front here again. Then we'll head our way up. And we'll weather the top part in there. And then we'll probably wrap it up there. I keep forgetting, like, I think I can get this done really quick. And it's important to stay patient with this whole process because you want it to look good. Again, the goal is to make this look like you walked off in the movie set. And oh, my glove got stuck. And so I'm going to go to the toothbrush again. I'm trying to get into the crevices here. And you sometimes just can't do it with the sponge. If you have a natural sponge that's very soft, because there's different there's different types of natural sponges you can buy. those natural sponges that are super soft work great for getting into little crevices. And those are usually the ones that are the more expensive ones, the softer ones, because they usually are using those for makeups and things like that. And I did not want to spend a ton of money on that. Even though I bought a pack of sponges and none of them were actually that super soft. I bought a couple because I wanted to be able to change out the paints without having to worry about changing out and washing these sponges. This is now my gray sponge. I'm not going to change that out. Does the black sponge get stuck in the Velcro, or does it get less sticky? Scotch. Oh, yeah, no. Down here, the Velcro, the black grossness. It's just gonna be there now. It's not gonna make it less sticky. It's still gonna do its thing. It just now is kind of like painted, which again is fine because honestly, no one's gonna see it, and it's not gonna cause any issues.
Okay, click.
The sponge. Well, so the black sponge gets stuck in the Velcro. No, it won't. So I was tapping on some of the rougher part of the Velcro is in this part of the strap. I weathered this part, but I didn't clean it off yet. I'm gonna do that last. I ripped my rubber glove. Oh no.
Oh, okay.
Trying to get into the crevices with this last bit of paint that I've got, and I'll add some more. And then we'll cover this top part. So we'll do that now. So I would say I'm about halfway out of this gray paint. And I've only done 2 arm pieces and most of this one leg, which tells me I need to go buy more. Because I haven't gotten to the bigger pieces of the armor yet. Just starting to put this on the other day just to make sure like some of the fitting parts are working out. Reminds me of how uncomfortable some of these costumes can be. But you look badass when you're wearing them. And again, I do it because it looks cool and it's fun, and kids really like it. I mean, adults like it too, but I don't really do it for the adults. I do it for the kids. Gives them the opportunity to see a Star Wars character without having to go to a Disney park. So I'm using the brush to get into the crevices of the strap, just like I did at the lower straps, so I can get those bristles into those smaller gaps where I can't do that very well with the sponge. And we're just gonna cake it on, let it dry a bit, and then we're gonna wipe off the high spots and let the low spots just dry. Yeah, I need to find better music. I mean, this isn't horrible again. My goal is to find some video game style licensed free remakes and play that on stream. So it's funny, I painted these straps, these flexible straps, white with spray paint, and they're kind of normally kind of like an eggshell white. They're kind of more of a yellowish, not say yellow, but a lighter yellowish hue white eggshell. And you can see that my paint's starting to crackle off. So me covering it with this gray will be helpful to cover all those eggshell spots. 90s classic. I could beatbox in the background for 4 hours. Dude, you'd be freaking gasping for air after like a stint. You'd be tired. But if you want, I will give you the option. I will hop into Discord, and then you can just hot mic on Discord and just beatbox for as long as you can. And we'll see how long it goes. Hi. How you doing over there? You winning? Are you winning, son? That's the meme. Are you winning, son? You're not my son, but... What? You didn't hear any of that?
So, winning? What?
Are you winning?
We did a boss and killed it.
You did a boss and killed it.
So we won.
You did it.
I won the boss fight. Good stuff.
What's next for you and your crew?
Warzone, I
You didn't get enough people to do your other stuff?
think. No.
How many more people do you need?
We needed 4.
You needed 4 to do an ops?
We need 8. But
So you needed 4 more people.
yeah.
And it fell apart after you were trying to get people together?
Right, because I'm back has to work tomorrow morning, and Kadeth has to work, you know, early morning. So I'm back only was around for like 30 minutes.
Didn't they say, I swear they said on Saturdays when they wanted to do stuff.
No, I think they said Fridays because normally you're not streaming.
Gotcha. We did it Saturday last time, I thought. Maybe
We did
maybe
it
not.
Saturday so you could stream.
I gotcha. Would you want Ben to beatbox on the stream as my background music for like 4 hours straight?
4 hours?
He says he could do
Can
it.
you handle that for 4 hours? I feel like you're gonna need a tall glass of water.
Yeah, I think he'd need something. He says that he doesn't think anybody wants to hear that.
I guess it depends on how good you are. Right?
Did you know he used to be a professional beatboxer before he
He was a professional beatboxer. I have a hard time
before he
believing
became a doctor?
that. But that's when you were living with him.
Yeah, he would beatbox every night. Would keep it a secret between him and me.
Oh, okay. Is that what you guys whisper to each other? You'd whisper beatbox nothing.
He would beatbox me as a lullaby to help me go to bed at night.
What? When I wasn't there.
When you weren't there, because he knew that I could sleep when you were there, but I couldn't sleep without you there. So then he would beatbox and help me go to sleep at night.
That makes
That's-
total sense.
That's how class act of a roommate he was. He would do that for me,
That's why you dream about him all the time. You're like, man, I wish Ben was beatboxing to me right now.
beatboxing me to sleep. Yeah. Oh man. So now I'm trying to get inside the back part of the boomerang knee plate piece. I gotta be careful because it's glued in with a couple different glues, but I have ABS paste that I don't want to crack.
Oh, you cute us. Okay.
So I used ABS paste, and to make that, again, I talked about it on the stream before. It's a combination of acetone and old recycled pieces, or essentially old clipped off pieces of ABS that you're not gonna need from your armor or from your kit. And yeah, you just mix that all together. I love the story you've created. Yeah, I know. Thanks. I like to do impromptu, goofy, fake stories, and that's gonna be like my staple whenever Cooper gets older. I'm gonna make up stuff like that on a regular basis, and then
I have such a skewed view of the world.
I don't know what he'll think. I mean, I don't want to ruin his mind, but I want him to have a good time. I mean, he's gonna do the same thing. Any kid, I don't care what what age range you are. Once they are able to tell stories, I mean, they get so far-fetched, it's ridiculous. So, if he's going to tell far-fetched stories, I'm going to too. We'll do it together. Almost done here, the top part. I'm trying to keep the Velcro spot clean. Again, it's not going to matter too much. Trying to get up underneath the crevices here. I'm going to have to bust out the toothbrush for the inside gaps. And then the idea is that it's not going to get cleaned back there. And we got to send it down to the spot where I stopped weathering, which is about right there. And I'm trying to speed up a little bit here because this is drying pretty quick. I got some excess gray left. I gotta make sure I use it all, because it can just get thrown away. But I need to get underneath the crevices here. So here, there's a lot of white underneath that. You can definitely see on that other cam. I need to go up with the brush here and coat that white so there's no white left. And then we'll wipe everything down, and we'll probably call it for the night. We've been streaming for about 2 hours now. We will be back tomorrow playing games. I still haven't really decided what game I want to play. I kind of want to go back in and finish up Star Wars. We were playing Jedi Fallen Order off and on throughout the stream, a couple, just randomly throughout the weeks whenever we had free time. And I do want to finish that because I looked at the walkthrough, not like the actual walkthrough, but like the bullet list of the walkthrough to see how far along I was. And I'm definitely like 3/4 of the way through the game, so I might just want to just knock that one out because people have been watching that one. It seems like an enjoyable experience. I like the game. It's been fun. The storyline is kind of what I'm playing it for, not really the gameplay. And I put it on easy, so it's easier to get things done. Be right back. Got chores to do. I understand. I had to do dishes before I started this. So this needs to dry again before I start wiping it down. So we'll just chill. Let this dry. We're gonna dab through here. Looks like up underneath I didn't get very well, so I'm gonna do that as well. And then we'll let this dry, and we'll wipe it down, and we'll be done with this whole leg piece. It's looking good. Just to show it off a little bit. Again, the top part is just covered in gray. We're gonna wipe that down in just a few minutes for some of the folks that just joined us here. That is the shin plate. My hands are covered and my arm is covered in paint. We will have to wipe my whole arms down later, which is fine. Our bed sheets are white. I don't want to like get paint on our bed sheets. That would be bad. I didn't get to use this. I mean, I did use the lid to do paints for this, but again, normally when I mix things up, I'll put the lid back on and the paints stay fresh. Sometimes you gotta hit it with a little bit of water to get it going again. Some other weathering techniques that I've seen people do, at least in the Star Wars space for 501st, I've seen people do what we're doing today. We're doing what we're called, it's like the dry acrylic twist method. Some people will hybrid this and they will thin this down because I have a lot of buildup on spots, and people will, instead of using a wet cloth, which will get this wet again, they will pre-wet their paints with either a paint thinner. Sometimes they'll just use water, which usually just kind of wipes it away, which doesn't really work. But paint thinner just kind of thins up the paint. Or they'll use, strangely enough, they'll use Windex. I don't know why they use Windex, but people say, oh, you just use Windex. And this water is nice and gray now. It was hot too, now it's cold. But, so the Windex approach is to kind of get the paint thinner whenever you apply it. So then when you dab it on, it almost kind of dabs on and then wipes off almost immediately. So you're kind of weathering it and not waiting for it to dry like we are and then wiping it down. You're kind of just doing it all in one fell swoop. I think to me that's a rushed approach, and that rushed approach usually doesn't give you the layering if you do multicolor as well.
I'm there.
Because again, if you start with a thinner or you start with something that isn't just the base paint moisture, when you add a second layer and that second layer has the Windex or the paint thinner in it, it's going to remove some of the gray, like in this case, if I was adding a different color, like black, a little too prematurely, or maybe just not, I mean, maybe I don't want to remove any of that, and it just does anyway, so we're going to wipe and go in circles here. My cloth, this gray, or this green cloth, is getting pretty gray. So the bummer there is I don't want to get this wet, and this is the only cloth I have to work with tonight. And that's kind of one of the other reasons why I want to finish up sooner rather than later, because then I can soak this, clean this, let it dry, and then continue with weathering in a different night. So now that I've got I'm starting with the boomerang first. I'm gonna get the details here because this was the most recently painted spot. I know you can't see what I'm doing right now at the moment because you can see kind of the back. I'll leave this down. Again, there's a lot of color here that I don't want to have. I want to get some of this line, and it's hard to twist this, but see how it's kind of thinning out pretty well. I want to get the gray hue to stay, but I don't want any streaking or lines. Again, the streaking or lines don't look natural for like caked on dirt. It does for if it was supposed to be like mud, and in this case it's supposed to be grease is the way they describe it. So yeah, maybe the shoe polish idea is a really good idea if it holds well to the plastics, because that will look like, you know, grease, you know, the greasy idea of like maybe I had to repair an engine or something while I was out in the field, or tell some grunt to do it and I had to help or something. I don't know. So we're getting a lot more crud than I'd like. There are going to be spots where I'm going to have crud on this on purpose, and that's when we're going to do the hairspray method. Hairspray and the chalk that I've got, and those effects get pretty slick. I've only done it on a couple things. On my chest plate for my sand trooper, I do it, and I also do it for my cloth bags. I have ammo pouches that I wear for that costume as well. Hitting it with hairspray really keeps the grime on fabric cloths, kind of bakes it in. Now the bummer there is if I ever had to wash it, which I don't have to because it's an ammo bag, an ammo pouch that I don't plan on really cleaning up. I'm just gonna get most of this off. I know I keep wanting to show you guys by laying this down, but I want to be able to see how the light hits it. I want to move this paint over so I don't get it painted again. We're gonna have to clean this brush and use it in a little bit, but for now we're just gonna let it dry. See, this is cool. This is chill, kind of chill. I want to find, honestly, I want to find some smooth jazz.
Yeah.
Some chill jazz music. That'd be fun. Nothing like antsy and all over the place. I'm talking like just calm coffee shop chill music. Problem is, you got to find something that's going to be not going to flag the Twitch stream and not going to flag the later export to YouTube. I'm not too worried about the YouTube export, to be honest. Like if it gets flagged in YouTube space, so be it. I'm done with the music. Oh, it's asking if I'm still listening. I am not going to cue that up anymore because we're about done for the night after we clean this up. So you can see as I'm wiping this down, it's doing that like chipped effect where there's little specks, and maybe you can't see it on the stream, but it's doing this chipped speck look, and I don't like it. I really don't. I think it looks like, and that's where I was talking about Oreo cookies, the cookies and cream effect. So this is a result of me waiting too long to wipe this down because some of the paint's already fully dried. So I'm just going to completely wipe that off. I'm going to leave some of that specking right through there. And just me wiping my rubber glove on here is causing it to show streaks. So I got to be careful there too. So small circles, and then dabbing it, twist. We got to get that effect. Again, if you do streaks, it's going to look silly. I'm liking this effect. It's again, there's a little bit of cookies and cream going on through here. I think when I add a second layer, I think I'm going to add a second layer. Not tonight, but again, Lisa's like, oh, I'll just do the one. I don't know. I think I'll probably do a second one. It'll look a little bit cleaner, a little bit better. Now I'm at the point where I need to bust out the toothbrush here shortly. I'm going to hit all the spots I possibly can with the wet rag first. And again, I've been waiting probably a little too long, so I'm going to get a lot of cookies and cream effect, which sucks. But again, we can always do this again. I did like I kind of miss the music now.
Yeah, he did.
I'm not gonna go do that. I'm like covered in paint even more now. So just wiping and wiping. Honestly, I think this might be my favorite costume. I haven't trooped in it yet, of course, because I'm not done with it. But the appearance looks really cool. And I'm excited to be able to get back to trooping at some point. It looks like some of the cons around town are going to start coming back. I mean, some of the cons that were canceled last year, they already have dates set for August to kind of come back, so to speak. And that'd be kind of cool. I don't know if we'll go, but I mean, by then I'll have my vaccine and people would still be wearing masks, I would imagine. I don't know. I don't know what the world's going to be anymore. It's bizarre. So the cookies and cream effect is happening here at the top ridge, up around these edges. It's okay. One of the things that we're going to do to combat the cookies and cream idea is we're going to later take an X-Acto knife and sandpaper, and we're going to like actually cut in lines to some of this. This very thin lines. We're not going to cut into the plastic. We're just going to kind of cause a crevice in the paint, the coating of paint, and that crevice will be enough to hold additional paint for us to do another weathering level. But we're going to use chalks for that, so that chalk will kind of fall into that gap. Either we'll hit it with hairspray or we'll get it wet, and then it'll just kind of stain the inside of those paint gaps, and those kind of cuts and crevices will look a bit cleaner. I think the one example that actually is naturally happening, I showed earlier on stream, was this crack here from where the ABS meets where my finger is right now. That line where the ABS meets the Bondo. Looks good. What if you just showed up in a non-approved costume? At a con, I mean, that's fine. If you were trying to I mean, if you were trying to hang out with the rest of the 501st crew, and you were like at the booth, and you didn't have a 501st approved costume, they're not gonna kick you out. I mean, we've had people that like to hang out with us, that they'll have like a Ruby's Boba Fett or something that just isn't like movie accurate, and they'll want to hang out with us because they like us and they want to chat with us and that kind of thing. And we don't mind that. We're not gonna be like, hey, get out of here. Normally we're trying to recruit those people and trying to get them to upgrade their costume and get it to where it needs to be if they want to. Normally people are into that idea. So, but me, if people knew who I was and they're like, hey TJ, what's going on? What are you going to do today? And I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to wear my unfinished trooper, this guy, and I'm going to wear like my scout helmet on top instead. It's just cosplay. And they'll be like, yeah, that's cool, but can you stay away from the booth? Because they know me, and they're like, yeah, that's fine, but like, it's not. They'd ask me to like, I would imagine they'd ask me to like, not stick around the booth. And it wouldn't be like them being rude. It would just be like, hey, we're trying to promote the fact that we're an organized costuming organization, and we don't want to muck up that whole thing. Hopefully that kind of answered your question. I don't know. But we've had people that are in Ruby's Stormtroopers that'll come up to our booth, and I, at least for A New Hope Stormtroopers, I can point out every little piece to it because I went to level 3 with that, and I can just point out all the issues with a costume pretty quickly. And whenever I see somebody else that's not part of our group, I can point them out really fast. And I'm not saying that's a good thing, but if people had questions, or they would walk up to that other person and says, "Hey, what's your organization about?" I could easily stop and be like, "Hey, he is dressed up like a stormtrooper, but he's not with our group, but I can talk to you about that whole process." So it's this weird thing because we don't want to offend anybody who's cosplaying. We want them to have fun with what they're doing, because that's the goal. That's why people do it, is they want to enjoy and share that experience with other people. But I just don't want the the casual Star Wars fan to think that somebody else's non-movie accurate costume is part of our organization. Sounds kind of elitist, I guess, but that's why there's costume standards. I don't know. It's a delicate balance. It really is. I still love the flex you did of getting a level 3 approval and then changing it. Oh yeah, thank you. People were so surprised when I did that. They were like, I was just tired of it, like keeping it clean. And I remember doing a build thread on our forum, or for West Virginia, for our local garrison. And like I had a couple of the guys pop in the chat and were like, wait, this is your level 3 stormtrooper? You're changing that? Or this is new armor? And I was like, no, I'm just using the same armor. I'm just destroying it pretty much. And they're like, why? And I'm like, I just don't want to keep it clean anymore. It's just too much work. And yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Where would you went?
But I went to level 2 with the Sand Trooper.
Yeah, I know you can buy a house.
And that's good enough for me. The Sand Trooper rules are a little bit more strict if you go above level 2.
Back to Florida.
I love building the Sand Trooper backpack because it was fairly straightforward, and it's pretty fun. Because if you ever look at the Stormtrooper backpacks in the New Hope, the Sand Trooper backpacks in the New Hope, most of it is just random household objects from the 70s. It's amazing. Seed trays and Tupperware lids for like pitchers and just tubing and just like old radios and stuff like that. That's all that is. It's just all just kind of stuck on there.
That'd be cool.
All right, what do you think, Lisa? I'm not done yet. Hold on, give me a second.
It looks really dirty.
Is that too dirty?
That looks quite dirty.
I mean, I'm not done over here.
Oh, okay. All right, that's what I'm looking at.
All right, I'll ask your opinion when I feel like I'm done. I gotta hit the toothbrush here in a little bit.
Did you say it's 2,000?
So Ben, now that you're gonna be at a permanent position, do you think? So for me, like when I had started working from home, I started growing my hair out longer. I guess I'm asking, would you ever grow your hair out again, or would you say, hey, that was something I did at one point, and now I think I'm done with it? I guess you'd have to get your wife's approval first. So I can be the man of your dreams. You know it, man.
That can be. You are.
Yeah, on a regular basis. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know about regular basis, but yeah. I love this look. See how dirty, grimy those little. It really calls out to the straps. The straps look they pop so much with the grays and the crevices. And of course, this is not cleaned off yet. That's all dirty. Lisa saw this and was like, "You're not done, right?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not done yet."
Yeah, you did, but it's out in the middle of BFE, man.
So my cloth is starting to get dry, so I might have to soak it again here.
Basically. Could be, I guess.
All right, what else is going on? LOL, I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with longer hair. Sometimes I think I want it long. Other times I think I want to chop it all off. That's exactly how I feel. Well, you had it much longer than I had it ever. But yeah, I was thinking of like when I got my hair cut and I had my like the top of my hair super long. It was long. It was down to my shoulders.
No, I don't mind.
And then
I'm trying to remember, they've gone up.
and then I was like, well, I'm gonna trim everything and have that kind of like man bun thing going on. And the more I looked at it, the more I hated it. And I'm like, I like the idea of short hair around my ears, but I like the idea of having longer hair on top. And that was kind of the trend, so I kind of went with it. But, you know, the more I had it, the more I despised it.
Yeah.
And I like the idea, but in practice, you look kind of goofy. I think only certain people can pull it off.
Well, there's two houses in our neighborhood.
I don't think I'm one of them.
There's two houses in our neighborhood for sale right now.
Are you talking to Jaron?
Cadith.
Is Cadith going to move here?
He's just talking about moving in the next year.
Tell him to come here quick.
Come here quick?
Come here quick.
TJ says you need to come here quick. Yeah.
So there's that. That's this.
Yeah,
believe it or not,
good.
This buckle piece. This part is a separate glued piece here that I had to cut and trim, and then it just kind of stops like crammed in there. So there's a ton of glue that holds that down. The buckle's then glued, and then this is a whole separate strap that comes across the back, and this is glued all up to this point, the back point in the cut, and then this part is loose on this other side of the other half of the leg piece. Now it's time to clean our brush, and then we'll start using that here now, and we'll finish up. I liked your medium length hair. Yeah,
right?
Like when it was.
But even without it,
a couple summers ago, yeah.
It's still way
or was it was last summer.
And the only
before I chopped it all off.
Area,
no, it wasn't last summer. Last summer was COVID. Just 2 summers ago.
Like not everywhere else.
I liked it, but whenever it was dry,
yeah,
it would be really poofy looking. And I didn't like it when it was poofy. I felt like a 80s. Yeah, Winter Soldier hair. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. People, no joke, were like, when are you going to do a Bucky cosplay? And I'm like, never. I mean, I could do it. It's not a huge comic book superhero nerd.
There's one down the hill for like $1,400.
I like Superman. I like Batman, and I like Spider-Man. That's kind of like that's my it. But those are kind of the mainstream folks, right? I don't know. I think I was a big Batman fan and a big Spider-Man fan growing up, and then I kind of liked Superman a little bit more as I got older. My dad was a big fan of Superman. But I guess it kind of stops right there. Like, I try to get in. I was watching a lot of the new Marvel movies that were coming out, the Iron Mans and the, some of the other things. I liked the first Thor. I thought the first Thor was really good.
I was gonna say, what about?
That was an enjoyable experience.
I figured Sarah was tight.
But
you'd want to be in the area.
I don't know. It's just it's not working for me, you know. But yeah, I could probably pull off that costume. I'd have to work out a little bit more. My arms are pretty small. Hey, do you want to start a Scarlet Spider so we could hang out in our spider costumes together? Yeah, that'd be fun. I honestly, now that I'm, like if you watch the German lady that we talked about in previous streams, see how I just like flicked that? Looks pretty cool. It's very muddy looking. I probably need to wash that off though.
Yeah.
But she was talking about how she started and how like her costumes are so much better than they are when she first started, and that's how I feel at least with my Star Wars costuming. And I haven't really done any cosplay besides Star Wars. I almost, before COVID got really ramped up in March last year, I almost did a Sam Porter Bridges cosplay from Death Stranding. Because I had the 1-to-1 like same size BB from the collector's edition. I have the tote that it comes with the collector's edition, so you can strap it to your back and everything like that. I mean, I had a lot of the parts that I wanted. I was going to order the cloth parts online, and then I was going to 3D print the shoulder pieces and the thigh pieces, or at least have somebody 3D print it for me. And then I was going to do that because he has longer hair that he kind of pulls up, and it was kind of like the same length as well. He doesn't always pull it up, but he can. And who doesn't want to be a badass mailman?
I think it's like $1,000 an acre.
But I guess to my point,
Yeah,
I would want to redo my Spider-Man costume. While I still have it, I almost did it for Halloween, because like there's a neighborhood kids that are boys that are like the age that are like, oh, if they saw Spider-Man, they'd be like up all about it. And I didn't do it. I've been doing my Star Wars costumes. But when I do my Star Wars costumes in the neighborhood, like a lot of the younger kids either don't know what I am or they're afraid to see me. I did, for Halloween this past year, I did my TIE Fighter pilot. The previous year, I did my Sand Trooper. And like the neighbors are always like super impressed. They're like, did you build that? How did you do that? And I'm like trying to talk them through the whole process. And then it's just like, wow. I did the Deus Ex sunglasses when we lived at the apartment. I had a guy that I ordered the molds off of on like RFP or RPF or whatever it is, and just I started that process, and then I was gonna get the leather jacket concept. It wasn't leather. It was like it's a fabric based jacket, and I wanted to get a lot of the inner stitchings correct. And when I was trying to find a way to make my own patterns without it costing an arm and a leg, it was just, I wasn't going to do it because it was just too expensive. For a cloth-based costume with just like fancy glasses, it just wasn't worth it.
Really?
So I didn't do it. But I still have those glasses. They're all magnetic and all that. They're pretty cool. But they just sit in my cosplay container that I've got for my other costumes. I still have my... I don't have my Altier anymore. That is now gone. I had to get rid of that when it was falling apart. Paint is now chipping off on this, which is fine. It was the new Deus Ex. It was the Deus Ex from Human Revolution.
What? 23?
Not the Mankind Divided. I think Mankind Divided was the sequel, right? It was the sequel to the new era Deus Ex, not like Deus Ex like 1 and 2 from like the old PlayStation N64 time and all that. All right, Lisa, you ready to give me your opinion?
It's like 2,000 square feet.
Are you battling? Oh, you're doing Warzones.
I'm battling.
After this Warzone's over, I need your opinion.
Okay.
We're gonna get Lisa's opinion on my weathering job and see if she likes it or not. She's very critical, and that's important.
I am.
I think it's very important. I know it's not terrible; it's perfect. Because I want you to call me out before I have to go get this costume approved. It went straight.
To the people
it went straight from original to new DSX. I cut up the Altier. I still have the Ezio upstairs in the closet, and that was just a purchased cosplay that I got online. Don't talk about Invisible War. Yeah, Invisible War is bad, right? Invisible War was 2, wasn't it? I don't know. It's been so long. I remember, like, nostalgia-wise, in college, this was 2005. My buddy was like, "Yo, let's play the old Deus Ex," and we sat in our college dorm, and he would play it. And I was just sitting there watching him play it. And we did that with Silent Hill 2, or no, what wasn't 2? It was 3. I think he did 2 and 3, because 3 was the one with the room, right, where you the peephole you'd look out of and all that.
Ours?
So I'm gonna pick and choose a couple of these little crevices and clean them out a little bit better. Yeah, Invisible War is no good.
I don't even see you. Are you here?
Yeah, I'm actually ripping the paint off as I do this. I don't know if that's a good
I
idea
see.
or not. Should be a little bit more careful. Yeah, because it's standing out too much now. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it anyway. At least for now, I can always add paint back. I'll probably do that. Try to do that with the other piece too. So yeah, have you guys been playing any games at all? I know you said you weren't playing anything new. I've only been playing video games whenever I'm streaming. I haven't really been playing video games almost any other time. I started playing a little bit of League of Legends last night. I'm not a League of Legends guy. Like, Lone Wolf was like, "Yo, let's play some League of Legends." I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? We'll give it a go." Like, he's been asking me to play it for a while now. And I think the learning curve for it is just it's a little much for the type of like gamer. I hate calling myself a gamer. The type of player, gamer, whatever you want to say that I am. I'm like, oh, I can shoot things.
Yeah.
I'll shoot stuff, and that's like lame brain kind of crap. Well, this shit is not coming off. I remember I had a friend Jonathan bought Deus Ex, or more like pirated it, and we called him by his initials, JC. So he fired up Deus Ex for the first time. The main character was called JC. It was a bit freaky back in 99, 2000. Yeah, JC. That was the name of the main character. That's fun. That's really cool. One of my favorite games of that era was Omicron the Nomad Soul. It was a late 90s game. It was on Dreamcast, PC, and I don't know what else it was on. I know it was on Dreamcast and PC. If you're a Sega Dreamcast boy like I am. Love the Dreamcast. Are you done with your Warzone? At the moment, you want to give me your critique? The official Lisa critique? Are you going to come over here, or you want me just to hand it to you?
I don't want to touch it.
Well, you don't have to touch it. I want to try to get this brush in there a little bit more. Where's my brush? I just had it. JC Denton. That's the character. JC. I remember there's that scene where this girl's like JC, and it always stuck with me. The voice acting in that game. Some of it was really, really bad. Some of it wasn't bad, but other characters, it was really, really bad. But that's coming from a lot of it was bad. The last game I bought was Unrailed because my friends were on the bandwagon and it was on sale. I don't even know what Unrailed is. I've never heard of that. Is that a PC game or is that a console game? I'd imagine it's a PC game, right? This took a lot more time to do this leg piece because of all the little intricate details versus the arm pieces. So it is what it is, but it looks pretty good. I think it's a little bit overly dirty, but we can always dial it back. Yeah, the paint on these rubber straps is peeling off as I scratch it with a brush. And I'm talking about the white paint that I put on the eggshell colored material. PC game, isometric multiplayer co-op, where you have to harvest wood and metal and make rails for a train that's slowly moving across the screen. Well, that sounds interesting. That Sounds like a good time. So what's the maximum player? Is it like 4 player? Or is it like 8 players? Or try to clean this up a bit more. See if it sits in the same vein. I think it does. Maybe this needs to be wiped down a little bit more.
Kaden was asking what our internet is. I don't know.
What our internet is? We have Comcast.
Yeah, but like what the
Speed?
are, yeah.
We have like the different tiers or what we currently have.
Currently?
We have gigabit down and like 25 up. So 1000 megabit or gigabit. Is he in chat?
Mm-hmm.
Just tell him. Don't type it.
Oh, what am I guessing?
It's
30.
4. Not 100% sure. I haven't played it yet. Same speed as me. You have gigabit? But 25 up?
You said 30?
I love gigabit. We just recently got 20. We went from 250. We went from 2.
It's 1 gig down and 25 megs up.
25 megabit. Yeah.
Big MB.
Megabit, not megabyte. Megabit.
Tiny bit?
Megabit. Lowercase m.
Lowercase m. Megabit.
Why does he ask? Megabutts. It's megabutts, okay?
Mbps?
Megabits per second. What's the problem here?
I don't know.
Are you that
I don't
special?
Know. I don't know
Just tell him. Don't type it. Tell
We're
him
talking
verbally.
about something else.
Verbally.
We were talking about it in the war zone, and I was like, I don't know, but I'm war zoning right now.
When are you gonna help me with my thing? I have a request.
You're just gonna show it to me.
You're gonna give me my critique.
Do you want to like put the shins next to each other, or are you
No, it's
putting a shin next to
the
an
other
arm?
the other shin isn't done at all. We're not doing the
Oh.
other one tonight.
Are you just putting it next to the arm?
It's stained, isn't it? This side's really dirty.
Yeah, it is. Megabit.
Megabutts. It's megabutts.
Did you say megabite?
Megabutts.
Mego.
Megal, like you know the game Omegle, or no, that's a chat client where
Yeah.
you randomly meet people online. Omegle, but it's Omegle butts. 25 of those though.
Bagel bites. Yes.
It's bagel bites. Yeah. Bagel bites.
Megabit. Megabyte. Bit. Bite.
Hey, listen to me. Look at me. Key up.
All right,
Say my husband's going to tell you the numbers.
What is it?
Can you hear me, Kadith?
He hears you.
Okay. We have gigabit down and we have 25 megabit up.
Bit. Okay. 110.
He probably doesn't anything more than that. It's bizarre how Comcast works, where the upload is lower than the download. My favorite part of the original Deus Ex was when Herman, the big mech guy, was trying to get a soda can from the vending machine. He was complaining because it gave him the wrong flavor. It was humorous because he's a huge gruff German dude complaining that he got a lemon lime instead of an orange. I do like
That's
that.
nice.
I like that.
We bought like a pro tier or something.
I like that because it's something that you remember too, that stands out, and it makes those games that are like, 2 decades old, memorable. Just because of that little bit of humor that they shove in there. All right, can you give me another opinion now? What are your thoughts?
Compared to your arms, it's looking pretty good.
I mean, compared to my arms, I guess.
I mean,
This
what
is a
what's
little
the
dirty here
comparison?
too.
The ridges for the strapping.
I'm not really comparing anything. I'm just saying, is this too dirty? Do you think this is too
to
dirty?
be consistent with your arm pieces.
Here, have an arm piece. It's not. It's dry now. You want to hold it?
No. So that is much dirtier than your arm.
This one?
But that makes sense, right? Because it's closer to the ground.
It's closer to the ground.
Okay. The only thing I think is a little too dirty is your strapping. But that's because it has a lot of
The
crevices.
Well, the crevices are gonna get dirty, right?
Right. Okay. So the outside pieces, I think you could use a little more wipe down.
The outside of what? Like out here?
Yeah. So you look like,
A little bit more put together.
a guy that tried to clean himself up after a long day's walk through. Where are you gonna be at? Where are you stationed?
I'm stationed in your heart.
What? Were you on Jakku or Scarif or one of those places that exploded, but you left first, right? You're like, oh man, I got sent to such and such a place.
I want orange. It gave me lemon lime. That's a good little inside joke.
Crevices are always dirtier. Yeah.
I do like the inside joke. This has a little bit of soap in it. I think I had Pine Sol or some sort of like floor cleaning agent in that bucket before, and it smells a little clean. So I'm like, hopefully it's not gonna like strip the paint or something. But all right, you're off the bed. See you in your dreams. I'll see you in your dreams. Oh my gosh, you're ridiculous. All right, I'll have a good night, man. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow if you're able to stick around.
And in your dreams.
And in my dreams. Yeah, we're gonna wrap up here soon. I started. It's almost been 3 hours. I've only done 3 pieces. Again, I was telling myself I'll get this done fast, and like I was saying previously in the beginning of the stream, my Sand Trooper took me about 21 hours to do. And so maybe that's going to be similar with this. So one stream I might just raid after this because I know we can raid, and maybe I'll have Lisa set it up really quick if I'm too busy because I have paint all over me.
I can do that.
Is classic or classic is Fantastic Plastic streaming right now?
I will find out.
I'll be wearing a Fantastic Plastic shirt, repping another streamer, Twitch streamer, streaming couple.
They are live.
They are live. We'll switch to them in a little bit.
Okay.
Speaking of ex-Lucasfilm stuff, there's going to be another Indiana Jones movie next year. Yeah, I don't know. They really don't need to do that. I thought Crystal Skull sucked. I wasn't a big fan. I don't think, and I get, is it like a prequel? Do you know if it's like a prequel or it's like a young Indiana Jones? I know that there's been books and comics and video games of young Indiana Jones. Or is it going to be Indiana Jones as an old man and like the same kind of crap they try to pull with the last one? Harrison Ford is just too old now. I agree. There's just a time and a place where you just don't need to make any more movies like that. Like for a while, I was like, man, it'd be cool if they had a sequel to Back to the Future. I mean, there was 3 of them, or 3 movies in total, I guess. But like, if you think about it, I mean, it would be hard for Michael J. Fox because of his health condition. But you know, you could definitely, because I mean, they make-up-ified Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown to be older than he was back in the day. So right now it's like perfect for him to be able to do that. You have no idea, but Harrison Ford is in it. He is in it? Oh my gosh. Well, we'll see how that goes. Again, there's just some movies that you shouldn't probably touch anymore. Like, honestly, in my opinion, I think the only movie that wasn't too bad that they like in that same genre, because I keep thinking of that, makes me think of Steven Spielberg, because Spielberg and Lucas worked together on a lot of stuff. Was the Jurassic Park movies when they did Jurassic World? Was that a mistake? Was that a good movie? I mean, the first one, I didn't see the second one. The first Jurassic World movie wasn't too bad. Again, Jurassic Park 1, of course, is the
gold standard.
The movie. I think all the other ones were just kind of so. Michael J. Fox is quite old now.
Woo.
The first Jurassic Park, if you had to see any Jurassic Park, that's the only one to watch. I remember when 3D TVs were popular, because now they're not popular anymore. We used to have a 3D TV. I guess the one that we have over here is 3D, but like I've never used it since we moved here because this TV came with the house when we bought it. The TV that I had was an old Sony. It's probably like 10 years old now at this point. It was a 3D TV, and I think I got it for Christmas. Like, I don't know if your mom got us it or I just bought it myself. They made a 3D release of Jurassic Park, the first movie, and I loved that movie as a kid. I would rent it at the video store like all the time and watch it multiple times. Because again, back in the day when a lot of movies either weren't able to be purchased or they were extremely expensive because like VHS tapes were like $80 to $100. Unless they were like mass marketed, and that would be usually like after they went through rental phase, they would do like sales at like the big box stores like the Walmarts and that kind of place, and by then the VHS tapes were still like $30-$40, not $100. Another movie that was big for me when I was a kid was the first Mortal Kombat movie, which honestly is nowhere near as good as Jurassic Park, but I remember going to there's a small little zoo where I grew up, and they had this event at Halloween called Boo at the Zoo. And I remember as a little kid getting ready to go into the entrance to this place. There was a kid dressed up like a velociraptor, full-on latex head and arms, but everything else was kind of like a costume, like cloth-based. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want that so bad. And thinking like, you know, my parents couldn't have afforded that, like me having like a latex costume like that. I was like full on super fancy when I was growing up. But just seeing another kid, man, I was like, oh, that's so cool. I love Jurassic Park. That's such a cool little deal. So what did I go for? Like, I'm trying to think about what costumes I did when I was a kid growing up for Halloween. I did Raiden from Mortal Kombat. I'm trying to think of other stuff I did. I can't even remember. Man, it's 11:30. I need to wrap it up. It's getting kind of late. I'm getting tired, and we have to go to bed on a regular schedule. We can maximally stay up at like 1 a.m. and we'll still probably drag butt. Because Cooper, of course, wakes up whenever he wants to, and he's sleeping right now, so he's well rested by the time he gets up at 8 o'clock. But we aren't, so it's rough. So just trying to wipe off a lot of the excess that I have on here. I think I'm done with it now. I really do. What do you think, Lisa?
Much better.
Much better?
Yeah.
Is it still too much?
I think you might have to bust out your toothbrush for in between your,
like down here,
like in the crevice-y areas. I was thinking your strapping is really dirty looking.
I kind of like it.
Okay.
I mean, it is dirty.
Yeah.
How dirty? I mean, should I keep it super dirty?
I mean, I would lighten it a little bit, but not too much.
All right. So the problem is I'm going to have to recreate this on the other side, on the other leg later. So the more layering that I'm doing, or the cleaning up that I'm doing, I got to remember what I'm doing so that when I go do it on the other side, I don't screw it up. 5 a.m. start for Coop. Thankfully, Cooper doesn't get up at 5 a.m. And if he does, it's usually because he's hungry. But he usually sleeps in around 8. If we're lucky. If we're lucky. He will get up at least once or twice in the middle of the night. he's 8 months old now, and he still gets up. I know some other folks aren't having that issue that we know, and it's unfortunate for us. But I don't know. Lisa does all the work, to be honest. I mean, I get up to help a little bit, but she's the one busting hum. So I've whitened up a lot of that. We're going to clean up the back here. And then I'm going to do the lower straps, and then we're going to call it. I think the fun part when we do this is when we do the helmet. The helmet's going to be really fun to get all the details there. Okay, so let's wash our brush. So now I gotta figure out what I'm gonna stream tomorrow. What am I gonna play? I guess I'll just start with Star Wars, and if I beat it early, then we'll find something else. That wanted raccoon, maybe we'll pick that up again. I don't know. People don't even like that game. It's like I started it, and people are like, "Oh, wanted raccoon. What the heck is this? Oh, I'll quit watching you." Just trying to get people interested in watching the stream. It's been a challenge. I mean, me being a variety streamer with not a whole lot of viewers, it's challenging because then, you pop in, you're coming to see me and not necessarily the game I'm playing. Whereas people that don't know me aren't coming to see me; they're coming to see the game. And I got to find something that's interesting to people that don't care to see me until they get used to who I am, and maybe they care to see me after a while. But maybe variety streamers need to have an audience first before they start becoming variety streamers, and maybe you just play, similar games for a while, and then branch out after the fact. I don't know. Try some Unrailed. Apparently it's good. I gotta look it up. How much did you pay for it? I guess I gotta figure out what the equivalent in US dollars it is. I've been spending. It's my problem. From some friends to the co-op. My problem has been I've been spending too much money on stream stuff. Like I have lighting kits. Well, I have a couple light boxes that I use for the green screen. I bought the green screen. I bought the stand for the green screen. I bought a cover for my chair to hide it. I have a ring light, and most of that has been paid for my first transaction of getting paid through streaming. Which again, you have to make $100 first before they pay you, and so I made like $120 so far from just doing this for over a year now. Whereas I got friends that have been doing this and they're making like thousands of dollars, and they started after I did. So it's like hard for me to like figure out what that niche is. But the girl that I know that is like a partner on Twitch, she sticks with one game, and she does like Animal Crossing. It's 19 Australian, and the supporter version. Is it on Steam, or do you have to buy it on their website? It's like 50% off. Okay. That sounds like it's on Steam. That's good. Sounds like it's something that I should probably look into. Yeah. Anyway, back to my point though. I bought all this physical stuff, and then I started buying a bunch of games to play on stream, and I'm spending like, sometimes it's like $5, sometimes like 15, or sometimes 20 or whatever like that. But then I'm not making any of that money back on Twitch, and so I'm playing games that I probably wouldn't normally play on my own, just for the sake of the stream. And I think I'm probably like spending too much money. So I need to find games that I'm either wanting to play myself, or I just play a game and like buy it and then like, I don't say beat it, but like play it through for a couple streams and then switch it up to something else, because it's getting too expensive. Currently 13 So probably like 9 for me. Okay. Well, I will check it out. So it's called Unrailed, right? Yeah. I will check that out. So Lisa had asked me to lighten up the crevices of my strapping. It's a little too dirty. That's what I'm doing. You buy all this equipment and it sits like, yep, and you're not making any money for you. Yep, that's exactly right. I mean, when you were streaming, I remember this was a couple years ago. Of course, when you would stream, it would be daytime for me, and I would be getting off of work. It would be like I'd watch you from like 4 p.m. my time to 5 o'clock before I would leave work, if work was slow and I had some time, and I would come in and chat with you. And
yeah, with like the skirt.
You were always playing like random new stuff, like the whatever that call was, like My New Car or the Jalopy or something like that. I forget what it was. I remember like watching you play it a couple times on stream, and I actually liked you playing that because it was like a lot of like niche things that you were doing where you had to like find a certain engine part or whatever to like get your car to do something better, and that was a fun stream, that kind of stuff. But you'd play different games quite often too, so even just buying games would tally up. It would just tally up. So my goal for this whole streaming thing was originally just to do it because I wanted to do it for fun, and I'm trying to keep that same mentality of just doing it for fun. The challenge is, I want to do it and have fun with it, but I don't want to cause myself to go into debt because I'm doing that too. A few times, yeah. 40-something VODs. Is that what it was? You played it that much? Maybe that's why it sticks out in my head so much. I don't know. I enjoyed watching your streams. But I get it. I mean, it's time consuming. Like here, I'm just sitting here doing this. Like normally, I would be doing this by myself, sitting in that room behind me, behind the pinball, and just doing my own thing, and I'd just be really quiet. I probably would be honestly be further along because I'm like stopping to talk, and that's just kind of like my way to like zen out, is get this kind of stuff done. But I enjoy like hanging out and talking to people while I do it, especially people that I know. So I do appreciate you guys coming in here. At least that many. I play the game many times. So you'd say you're a master at that. Did you end up beating it? Is there a way to beat that game? I think I'm happy with this. This looks pretty good.
I thought that was an ARC trooper.
One spot that I don't like. We're gonna try to clean that up. Hello, no, you keep going till you crash and die, then start again. Oh gosh. I didn't realize it was like that. So it was very sandboxy, I guess. You were just kind of sandboxing it up until something bad happened. Or the car dies and you're miles from nowhere and you die of thirst. Oh my gosh. I like the idea that no one, like the cars drive past you and no one would stop to talk to you and be like, hey sir, do you need help? They would just keep driving and they would just ignore you. Or like you couldn't hijack somebody else's car, I'm assuming. You probably couldn't do that either. Alright, I think this piece is done. It has a little bit of like staining on it, which looks pretty interesting.
Oh, that'd be good to watch.
Not sure if I like it or not, to be honest. But I'm gonna go with it. Let's see what you said here. I saw you post something. I think it's a good idea to find a game that is popular and on sale on Steam, and also not many other people are currently streaming, and try to build up the base of viewers who are there for you, not the games. Then move on to stuff that you're actually interested in playing. Yeah, that's a good point. One of my favorite streamers on Twitch right now, he really focuses on his community as opposed to what he's playing. And that guy's Zero Gravity Theater is the stream name. Zero Gravity Theater. Rabin is the guy's name, and he kind of does that. And he's got about an average of 50 people that watch him. And he rotates out games, and on around Halloween time, he'll focus on spooky games, or he'll have a certain day of the week where he'll play spooky games. My problem is I can normally only stream once a week, and today is the exception this week because of this costuming stream plus the gaming tomorrow. 50 is quite good. Yeah, I know. I mean that's almost where you need to be for partner. Partner I think is 75 on average. And he's got it down because he reads the chat all the time. He's very friendly with everybody that hangs out in there. He might be streaming right now. I don't know. Hey Lisa, is Rabin streaming right now? Do you know? Who's that guy you're watching? Is that your jam?
That's Jason Derulo.
Is he a rapper?
He is hip-hop.
He's a hip-hop guy?
Hip-hop, something
If you aren't streaming at least 3 times a week, it's going to be a struggle to build your base of viewers. It really is. It really is. My friend who has partner now, she started, months after I did. She's streaming I think 4 or 5 nights a week, and that's after a 40-hour work week, after hours. But she doesn't have any kids. She's got a couple cats and a husband, and that's they don't require as much attention. That's the donut guy. Is Raven on?
I don't know. No, he's not. He's not on right now. He was on earlier.
Is Classic Plastics still on?
You mean?
Fantastic Plastics. What's wrong with me? Are they on?
Looks like it.
You want to cut over to them?
Sure.
All right. Well, Xenon, it's been real. Everybody else that's been lurking, I appreciate it. I'm going to call it for tonight. I'm going to clean up my mess, and I'm sure that's not very entertaining for the stream. So even stream remote play is a good way. Hold on. I think collaborating with people is a good way to build too. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, collaborating and maybe other people that are playing games. Again, my friend, she strictly plays Animal Crossing stuff. I think she occasionally will play what was that other game? The cell phone game that people play.
I don't remember.
With the sus meme. I can't even think of it. I'm stupid. I'm brain dead at this point.
The Among Us.
Among Us. Yeah, she plays Among Us very rarely. But anyway, Xenon, thank you for hanging out. Everybody else who's been hanging out with me tonight that hasn't chatted, appreciate it. We'll continue to finish up this costume build. We are so close. We're down to the weathering part. The strapping part I'll do off stream because it's literally going to take me one evening. But appreciate everybody. Go ahead and start the raid. We're going to go check out some cool music. If you want to stick around, check out Fantastic Plastics. I just bought a shirt. I'm going to wear their shirt tomorrow on stream. If they're 80s, 90s style. If you like Devo, you'll like these guys. Come check them out. Are we rating right now? Are we rating? We're not rating yet. Have you started it? Hit the button.
Clicked it.
Hit the button. Hit the button. Did it happen? All right, good night, guys. See ya.